I hope you die very soon.
Yeah, what did I do?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cheap Seat Critics Podcast, where today we are covering Coco, and I'm one of your hosts, a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Sprinks. And hey, if you're listening from Mariachi Plaza, you can find us over on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, uh, Twitter, Blueski. We also have visual side of things over on YouTube and Rumble, where we do like a visual slideshow of whatever it is we're covering and PG tubers and all that pizzazz. But hey, maybe not your cup of tea. We have a ton of things on audio platforms as well, and we have a LetterBoxd where we have all our averaged out numbers and graphs of our summaries and ratings all pulled into one.
Yeah, um, yeah, Coco's another Pixar movie. We've done a few, and we've also did our tier list. Um, well, may as well start with the histories. Why don't you lead us off, Crimson?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, we did a Pixar tier list, and this was obviously one of them. I don't remember what I said word for word because that was a long time ago. But the consensus is before the us covering it now, I had kind of seen it once. I, I was watching it while babysitting a problem child, so I was kind of half watching. So it wasn't a full experience, but I did see it technically from beginning to end. Since then, I have not seen it until now, so twice, and that's, I guess, my history about it.
Fair enough, fair enough. Sprinks, your history, sir?
Oh, sweet. I have seen Coco now twice. First time I watched it was in 2018, and then we also did the Pixar tier list and everything, and I recall Crimson said he gave Coco a high D. I don't think that's where Coco wound up, but I remember that's where he initially said, not to hint at subjective or anything. Could change since then. Um, and I think that's all. Oh, well, I haven't seen it in person, but the Ernesto de la Cruz uh, character at Oogie Boogie's Bash and California Adventure looks very cool.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Nor did I. I guess I'll have that to look forward to whenever I find my way back to Disneyland or California Adventure. I guess it leaves me for history. This is a movie I've seen from beginning to end probably 3 times, but it is a family favorite because I come from a very similar culture. So uh, since it's come out, it's been a hit with most of the people in my family. So it's one of those movies that's always on in the background for the younger kids since it came out. So I have seen it more than the 3 times, but I don't know the patchwork that would amount to. Uh, and if that's all for histories, gentlemen, I can move us right along into facts. How
Oh,
you all feeling about that?
I do have
Or
a
you got stuff to
question.
add?
Yeah, I do have something to add. Why are we covering this movie now?
Oh, that's a very good question. Because Dia los Muertos.
Is this month? We're not going to make the date like V for Vendetta, but it
Yeah,
is
I
within
think
the range.
at the time this comes out, I think it was on Sunday, and this comes out Wednesday, so it's close.
Yeah, it'll be close to the holiday, so it's I think it's appropriate. I guess it's one of those things that's just it's fall appropriate. Not very many fall movies out there, but it fits the profile. Uh, and I guess with that, I shall move us into histories. No, that was histories. I'm gonna move us into facts. Uh, this is a 2017 Pixar movie. Release dates were October. I'm sorry, October 20th in Morelia, but November 22nd everywhere else, including the states. Um, it's got a runtime of 105 minutes, and a budget of 175 to about 225 million, with a box office count of 814.3 million.
Whoa.
So
Remember when
tripled its
Pixar and
budget.
Disney movies made that much? Wow.
True. It was also one of those Thanksgiving animated movies.
Yeah, which is, it's when all the whole family's together, you can bring them out to the theater. This kind of fell right in that little niche time period. Um, the score was composed by a fan favorite, at least for Springs, Michael Giacchino.
Sure was.
Wow, that's different music than I'm used to hearing from him.
Yeah, I to be honest, yeah, I'm in agreement. It's not the kind of music I'm used to hearing from him either. So imagine when I learned that fact. It's quite fun. Uh, Coco is the first uh, film with a 9-figure budget to feature an all Latino principal cast.
Anything or animated?
No, first 9-figure budget. So anything that's over $1 million, pretty much.
That's roughly 99 isn't exactly true. I don't think that's fully true.
Yeah, I'm thinking on it. I don't. Yeah.
John Ratzenberger is in this movie. Very small role. And to my knowledge, he's not Latino.
I think they mean what's it called? Main cast. Is it probably what they meant to put down? But I am not sure.
Well, same with like Black Panther, right? You got what's his face?
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, so I think he would be the exception of the statement as well in that example.
That would be interesting. Miguel was originally only going to play guitar and not sing. When the director, Lee Unkrich, I'm sure I butchered that name, I apologize, discovered Anthony Gonzalez was in fact a talented singer, it was decided Miguel would do both so Anthony could share his talent in the film.
Very neat.
So that was just happenstance? That wasn't part of auditions?
Apparently so, according to this fact. And which is a good time to remind the audience that all these facts are taken off the internet. So if our earlier discussion wasn't a hint, take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Next fact would be it spent more days number one at the box office than any other animated film in the 21st century.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of wild.
A little, yeah.
Lots of big stuff before it.
That's true. Again, it might just be the timing, but also it taps into a very specific cultural piece that really isn't traditionally depicted in big budget animation films.
Wait, so that fact is stating that this was in theaters more than Frozen was?
Spent more days number one at the box office.
Oh, well, okay.
More than Avengers.
Okay, no, that just what else was out when this came out?
I animated film too, Crimson. Do I need to repeat the fact here?
No.
The film contains specific themes and content which would ordinarily be banned in China. Reportedly, the Chinese censor board members were so touched by the film that they made an exception and allowed it.
Oh, interesting.
That's unheard of.
I know. That's why I thought I'd share. The orange flower seen throughout the film is the Aztec marigold, known as the Mexican marigold or the cempasúchil. I probably butchered that name. I should know because I pronounced like the Latin biology names all the flippin' time. The flower is used in the tradition of Dia de los Muertos in Mexico to guide the deceased to the living. So that one is a tradition.
Well, I'm glad they got that right.
Yeah, there's one of many they actually got really well into the film. And with that, that is all the facts I have, gentlemen. So I will throw this to the floor. Do either of you have any facts you want to add?
Crimson?
Did you know that their jawbones weren't separate unless it was relevant to the story?
Great. You know what? I could have guessed. Uh, only other fact I have is that Lee, fill in last name, the director also directed Toy Story 3.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Got the emotional beats done. Story?
Your subjective showing on
Mm-hmm.
something. I can't tell what. But
Yeah.
I also, being that I logged this into my LetterBoxd account, I saw my score I gave
It's
this
Letterboxd.
movie. Yeah, well, we'll get there. I saw my score I gave this movie back in 2018.
and you couldn't believe it.
It's not the score I give it now.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I guess with that, we shall dive into our coverage. It will be a linear popcorn. You feel free to jump anywhere. We can talk big concept stuff at the beginning, middle, or end, and we can also uh, do what we need to, but trying to keep it somewhat linear as we go along. But who knows? We still have the freedom to do what we want. And we shall start with today, Sprinks.
Awesome. I'll go with a big one, just so we can clear the air of it. What is Dante?
An issue for me. That's what Dante is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of saw that coming.
Yeah. Dante. Okay, let me specify this. I do like the fact that animals can cross between worlds. It's kind of in the lore of a lot of cultures and customs and just how they portray things. There's like how cats are guardians of the underworld in like Egyptian lore and stuff like that. There is an element of that that's very very broad spectrum that I like. However, within this story, haven't a fucking clue.
I think I would have liked it a little more if Dante, while being in the afterlife, was slowly turning into a what was it? A spirit animal?
Spirit guide.
Spirit guide
Yeah.
was slowly turning into that, like how Miguel is slowly turning into a skeleton. But because of Miguel taking the blessing and going back to the living, then going back to the spirit world would kind of like revert his uh, progress on changing. And Dante was there the whole time, that Dante would change first.
But that would take away the reveal, which is why I don't think they did that. Because I would also prefer that. But
Well, I mean, I guess Dante did change first technically, like all his tattoos growing up, even though it was kind of instant because he
It was
completed
convenient
his.
when Miguel said it.
Yeah, he completed his first quest or whatever. He got all his tattoos. It's it's a problem.
Okay, glad we're all on the same page of that. Because
Yeah,
to me, I'm like, this is something that's just not explained.
well,
yeah.
when we first have them crossing the pet bridge, Dante's along. I'm like, so in the real world, did Dante get cursed? And if not, because it kind of gets confirmed later, he's not cursed. He's just a spirit guide. Um, what does the outside world see? Do they just see the dog walking through the sky? Does it just disappear? What what is everyone seeing?
I think when Dante passes through the veil, like all the other skeletons do, and the glow comes off of them, that he vanishes.
So in the real world, he just looks like he
He
teleports,
just
like
disappeared.
vanishes.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
gonna
would be
go
my
That
with.
is a world
that would be my
problem.
only understanding. The only benefits that is it's a homeless dog, and sad to say, most people don't really pay that much attention to homeless dogs. It's not a
But
great
not
defense.
every dog is a homeless dog. Not every
That's true.
animal is a homeless animal.
I'm just pointing out that this one is, since he's the one that's relevant to the story.
It was also in a very populated cemetery. Yeah, I feel like even if people didn't care, someone could have seen it.
Crimson, would have you preferred that when Miguel was in the graveyard panicking before going with his family over to the other side, that it showed Dante before the bridge and he was glowing?
That would be a better hint, I think. Yeah, it would be much smoother to imply that he changed over with Miguel.
I'd prefer it if we saw that Dante's body is still active with his spirit in the other side.
I don't know if I would have liked that.
Because just the concept of an animal blipping out of existence to the outside viewer, I think, is an issue in of itself.
I think how that would work is what if Dante's body in the real world went to sleep?
I take that.
That
I
might
would take
work. That might work better as far as a betrayal because it would be less, I guess, difficult to kind of use that as a means of exploring what's going on.
because he's just spirit walking at that point. If we were to go with that,
Yeah.
Is, I guess, still in vain, the spirit animal of Imelda, of Pepita, the giant, like, leopard cat thing, is that the cat at the end of the movie?
it seems heavily
That is the
implied to me that
implication.
that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Okay. So with that, is that just explaining spirit guide animals can just go back and forth then, and it's not just Dante?
They need the bridge, so like they use the orange petals as a means to get back in the way that humans or that the spirits do. But yeah, it's not very committal to that because they obviously imply it coming back with the shadowing on the wall
Well,
silhouette.
they can use it past De los Muertos because it was already sunrise, right?
Uh, maybe.
Pretty sure it was.
Well, Dante doesn't come back until the next year, right? The next Dia los Muertos. Like that's where I
Is
remember
that
that scene that they had to
right?
time skip when he came back at the end.
Who are you saying comes back again?
Dante. We see him cross over again
The
to the real world, but that isn't until
I would say yes.
the year the time skip.
Sun is rising in the afterlife, and they send Miguel back, and Dante's not present. I would guess that the bridge is closed on the other side, and Dante was over there for a year.
Yeah, that doesn't contradict what's shown, so I assume that's what happened.
I would believe it.
Here, are you thinking over there, Crimson?
I was reading my notes to see the timeline of the year gap or jump to when I wrote where Dante returned, and it is after the year mark. So I guess they would still be limited by the De los Muertos bridge.
Uh, well, all
So I
right.
guess people's animals can just disappear for a whole year then.
I
I guess
suppose.
so. Explains where my cat ran off to for a year before I found it again. That one actually isn't a joke. That is a writer lore bit. uh, all right. Crimson, why don't you go next? If you want to continue the point, jump to another one.
Sure, I'll go with another broad, I guess just Disney one. And we have the like backstory about uh, the Day of the Dead using the banners. I don't know what they call them, but and it just reminded me of like Hercules with the
Oh, the muses?
yeah, with that. And then I was like, oh, don't they kind of do a similar thing in Moana with the tattoos? And then I was just like, Disney likes using these this type of technique and stuff. And I feel like there was another one, but I couldn't remember where. But
Interesting.
I like how they implemented it. It
Did
was
they
cool.
do it in Brave
It's
with the
such a forgettable
tapestries?
movie. I don't even
Can't
remember.
recall.
Maybe.
Uh,
Can't say.
they yes, I do remember them trying to sew a tapestry together, but I don't know if that was.
I,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, that was something she was supposed to do with her mom.
I'm just trying to remember the like will-o-wisps explaining how Mor'du turned into a bear. And I thought that was like tapestry drawing look.
Did Brother Bear have anything like that with cave art? Or am I combining that
No,
with Ice Age?
I think you're combining that. Brother Bear didn't really have anything of cave art moving.
Mm, I think we do get a transition of that during the spirit walk scene when they're supposed to find their spirit animal. I think there is something related to that happens, but I don't remember because it's been a while since I've seen Brother Bear 2.
Well, that was just my point. It just clicked that it's a technique they kind of have utilized.
Good observation.
I think it was good here how they utilized it as well.
Yeah. Uh, Not really. Yeah, I guess this kind of ties into something animation wise. The design for their human characters. It's it's Pixar. Pixar animated humans kind of varies from project to project, but the more modern Pixar has a more like
Copy paste,
roundish. What?
Like they're
copy
getting
paste.
better.
Yeah, like they're it's copy and paste, but it's roundish, but they have more roundish features. Because I don't really see those roundish features obviously when I'm looking at Toy Story. Granted, the people are not the main part of that story, but everyone's kind don't they don't necessarily have those overly round features.
Or an
Like
up.
Elio, Luca, um, Turning Red, they all are very similar to me. The human designs.
Yeah, it's been very very much a more modern Pixar kind of design. Here, I don't think it works well enough to kind of hide that almost. Not hide it, but like it's not as at the forefront because they have a lot of decent variation on that. Um, like Miguel's parents don't really have those. Don't really have the extra round features. Um,
These
but
don't have mean mouths that the current
yeah,
ones have, which I definitely
that's
prefer this look to the newer stuff they've been doing.
yeah. It feels less pointed, I guess, in the animation side with this one. Let's see. I think I guess I'll jump to somewhere at the beginning because someone's got to start. uh, we have a very very prolonged expedition jump. Yeah, expedition dump.
Exposition.
Exposition dump. There we go. See, words not can I. We have a very long exposition dump, and uh, the it kind of I kind of want to say it drags on a little too long. I think pacing wise. I kind of want to vibe check with you guys, see how you feel about it.
I think it's okay. It's about 4 minutes ish, 4.5 minutes. Did make me question if Miguel, because he's relaying this whole story of his whole family and everything to us, the audience, but then it's revealed that he's saying it to a mariachi band member. So is the whole beginning 4.5 minutes the exact same thing he just said to a guy before he was interrupted?
I think so. It's kind of implied that that whole 4 minute bit is what he was telling him, but also like when he's catching us up on his family, we see him take the shoe shining thing as well with him when he leaves the house. So it's kind of implied, yeah, that everything we hear uh, up until that point is being told in world.
It's good. That's why the guy was so tired of it. I don't need to hear your life story, kid.
Yeah, I do think the humor plays off really well, and also the adult it did listen, which I also quite enjoyed as well. Like he's not a complete dick and pushes the kid away or anything like that. He does, he offers him his guitar for a chance to play.
Oh yeah, it's very rare finding any shoe shiners in the plaza.
Apparently,
At least from this
since
family.
at least from this family. Okay,
I
yeah. I think for me, where it crossed the line is when as soon as we get like the shot of the real world, we're informed we're caught up. It immediately jumps into De La Cruz's like exposition on who De La Cruz is.
You don't think there was enough of a break between the two?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I might have been. And also, to be honest, I think the Ernesto de la Cruz backstory isn't really needed here because I think there's enough context clues in the film to imply that. There's enough going on elsewhere.
I feel
So
like
it
his
makes,
shrine room could be enough for that.
well, there's not just a shrine room. He and Miguel talks to that guitarist. They both respect him very highly. So there's a lot more contextualized dialogue for who De La Cruz is in the world that we're operating in for this story. So it makes the backstory we get of De La Cruz kind of feel superfluous.
Yeah, I
I
guess it's the balancing act of a kid's film, kind of having to
Yeah,
deliver point blank. But Springs, you're about to add on to that.
I think the one thing to come from the Ernesto de la Cruz backstory about his death is just for that bell.
yeah. Which again, I think they could have done a different way. And you're right, Crimson. I do think it's definitely there for children, more or less, to really hammer home everything that you need to know as an audience member. But I do think there's enough. I still think there's enough context clues to pick it up. But that's might just be a personal thing. Uh, for me, the writing issue here is just that I think there's not enough breathing space between the two exposition scenes.
I can agree with that.
Springs point
I
or
do
add on.
well, I do really like the mariachi band rendition at the very beginning of the Disney Castle.
Actually, yeah, that's true. We got a new opening animation kind of, and I also quite enjoyed it.
I didn't really care for it that much, but peek behind the curtain, I'm not a big fan of mariachi music, so
Yeah,
it kind of goes hand in
no,
hand.
no, you're a big
Yeah.
bagpipes guy, so
Bring home the bagpipes.
Backpacks were cool. And also
Yeah,
to be completely honest and open, since I spend a lot of time in this culture very often, I'm not the biggest mariachi fan either. I enjoy it every now and again, but it's not my go-to for music choices.
I
guess
think it's
Springs.
fine.
Now you're the Lone Ranger.
That's fine.
It is
I
fine.
I think mariachi's fine. I'm not like putting it on all the time, but I'm not against it.
Mhm.
I think it's mariachi music to me is very tone setting on like placement kind of thing. Like if I'm going into like a Mexican restaurant and they're playing mariachi, it feels more connected or more culturally homey to that sense of it. But if I'm,
Yeah,
out and about and I hear it, it's like, oh, I recognize it and it's fine, but it's there.
I I noticed at least a lot in America. There's a lot of when they do like Mexican or Latino restaurants, they go through the effort to try and transform the interiors to give it like that uh Spanish mission clay design almost with their walls, and then they have tiled floors. So they do a very like they do restaurants do a very good job of like trying to introduce you to their culture very on a more subtle level of what it's like,
One comes immediately to
without
mind to me that we've all been to.
Start with an M.
It sure does.
uh I
I don't know if we can
don't
say. I think we
remember.
can say it. Can we
I'm
say it?
sure we can
It's
say
more
it.
than one
Why not?
location.
Yeah, it's a chain.
Mazatlan.
Mazatlan. I remember. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, that's a good one. Eh. There was a few ones that I went to, but I can't recall all of them right now.
Yeah, I think mariachi music for me is best paired more in media to me than in like actual real life. um, like if it's in a action-packed scene or an intense scene, kind of something that pops in my mind is the SpongeBob movie with the
Oh,
Cyclops,
the
where
fish. Yeah.
the mariachi's playing while they're attacking
Yeah.
the
Ryder has no clue
Cyclops.
what that is.
I think it fits.
No, I
Oh
don't.
yeah, I guess.
That is a funny
For the
shtick to it.
audience,
Yeah.
What I think of is Puss in Boots.
Oh, that also works.
yeah.
Crimson. Point?
Yeah, I'll jump back to a point you made earlier with the like faces or the animation style. And something I think they did very well in this to exemplify this setting is everybody's very distinguished features. So when you see them as skeletons, you can tell who they are. I think they do a very good job at that. Everyone's skulls are like really different from each other. Um, so it's not just clothes are identifiable, but their actual body is identifiable as well, which they did a good job achieving.
You know, in
Yeah.
animation, how they have to do like an under layer, quote unquote, like wiring to know when like the movements of the body, kind of like that 3D stick figure sense is.
Rigging, yeah.
Yeah, the rigging to give a skeleton to an animated character. I'm curious the look of that on a skeleton already, since the skeleton is under the character. So the skeleton of the skeleton in the animation.
I'm curious if you overlaid their living counterpart images with their skeletons, if it would actually overlap properly.
I think
I
that
don't know if it would.
I don't.
They would have
I
some
think
bone density problems,
yeah,
I think.
they'd all have
But
severe cheekbones.
Yeah, like I feel like some of the bone features would stick out of their skin because they had to exemplify certain traits. But that's not an issue. That's just observation.
Yeah.
uh, that's just fair. Um, I will jump to uh, I'll jump to the very very clear dynamic of the family because they do a very good job introducing the family like through the exposition, but then also they reinforce that pretty much immediately with Miguel even talking to a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, they set the line for the dynamics pretty early on.
Yeah. Um, and I well, guess a small note that I like is we're shown that Miguel spends a lot of time great great with his great grandmother in the wheelchair.
Coco.
Coco.
The name of the movie.
It
I
did
know. I wonder.
it did make me question, is that an appropriate name for this movie?
It's a
Define
connecting
appropriate.
thread.
Can you define appropriate?
Like, do you think there could have been a better name for the movie?
I'm sure you probably could have, but I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, she's referenced directly in the beginning as the daughter of the musician that's going to be of importance. She's the last surviving connecting thread as to what's keeping Hector alive and how the family. She was obviously the matriarch of the family, and they're very very family centered people. We all are, but I think we could probably find a better name, but that doesn't I think dissuade the fact that I think this name is still appropriate to the film.
Okay.
And yourself?
After, because I came up with that thought about, I don't know, a little before halfway in the movie, I went, I just don't. Is Coco the best name for this? Upon finishing the movie, I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely a background thread. It doesn't really come into importance until the end.
Well, once you get the connection of everybody involved, then it kind of flushes it out.
One tiny little bit that I quite liked is when abuela, grandma, throws her flip flop at Dante the dog to try and chase the dog away. And
Flip
then
flop.
she tells Miguel in the next breath to go get her flip flop back.
Are they called? I don't want to butcher
It
the
starts with
name.
a C. What the name
Is it a
is? But
chocla?
it's something like that. It's a
Yeah.
slip-on.
Yeah.
But yeah, she actually hit Dante because there was a dog like squeal sound.
Yeah. I I think that
chancletas. Yeah,
showed to me that we're not supposed to like abuelita.
yeah. She's carrying on the family tradition, but it's interesting with her because she has no memory of it. She just thinks this is the rule of the house and just enforces it.
Well, she's
But yeah,
deeply enrooted with tradition.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Uh, but
I
yeah,
guess on the
I
topic.
get. Sorry, you first, Crimson.
Oh, I was gonna go on a tangent, so if you want
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I think, but I was gonna say I agree with you, Springs. I think the intention is for us to think of Abuela as an antagonist, not necessarily a villain, but she is an antagonistic towards Miguel's what Miguel's trying to do.
yeah, she's trying to prevent him from his goal of being a musician. So that would be a antagonist role. Uh, but on the topic of the grandma, I just I put a question mark on her appearance in the plaza. I don't fully understand why she was there. It wasn't treated as if she was looking for Miguel. It kind of seemed like she stumbled into Miguel there.
Yeah. The only thing I have to defend that is that the family went shopping because the other family members behind her are all holding bags with like freshly bought stuff. So it's implied that they went shopping and they did it just happened upon him while he was there. So it's not as bad as it could be, but I would still label it as a convenience.
Yeah,
That's
and
where I
also
had
that
it.
she tagged along because they could have gone shopping without her, and I don't think anyone else in her family would have reacted as much as she did to the situation.
Yeah, yeah. It's convenient. I'm fine with the Abuela going because she just need she's got muscles in her, but
Yeah, but
typically you'd
this
bring young people to hold the groceries and stuff like
yeah,
that.
but this family is like we're all going or no one's going type feel.
Yeah, they. I mean, again, as someone in that culture, everyone goes out together. I remember getting annoyed with it because there was a time when there were 10 of us in a house for a holiday, and they all were going to go shopping, and they dragged me along because it was just a thing that they were going to do. And even when they broke up into smaller groups, we all did it together, and that's a very much an ingrained in the culture thing to do.
I'm lucky she was shopping when he was there with the guy.
Yeah.
Bad time.
Like I said, it's convenient. It's just it's not as egregious as I think it could be because, like I said, it culturally it works. I think, and I think it works that she would go shopping. It's just convenient that they just happen to be in the same spot at the same time. You know?
On the sake of convenience, well, not convenience, but just like culturally appropriate or um shoot, you just said the word right or atrocious? No, outrageous, something like that. Is Miguel's story of that the family makes shoes explaining that they could have made candy fireworks or wrestler underwear a bit too stereotypical?
At least with regards to what I think of it culturally.
Sure.
So strangely enough, we Latinos tend to embrace most Latinos tend to embrace the stereotypes. And like I said, stereotypes work. They definitely cover a broad spectrum of people. So I think they're fine because that is stereotypically what Latino is. Like that is part of their identity. They like fireworks, they love wrestling, they love a lot of that. It is I would say it is stereotyping, but it's not inaccurate stereotyping. It's when you expect every individual in that culture to adhere to one of those things. That's when you start probably crossing over into not stereotypes, but something a little bit darker. Um, but that being said, I do think it works because they're not necessarily toxic traits, though I would say this film does display a few. Um, it's yeah, I would say it's appropriate.
Okay.
Uh, Crimson, more to add on or another point?
Crimson had a tangent he wanted to go on.
Oh yeah.
No, it was the grandma thing. That was the I was going off of the grandma shoe thing into the whole convenience in the plaza. That was the tangent. I guess my point on the cultural stuff, I don't have much of a feat in it, but by the end of it, they did stick to, I guess, a non-stereotype of shoemaker. It's not really something I correlate with the culture, so I don't think they went full diving into the stereotype pool. I guess that's my input on it.
Yeah. I mean, what's traditional in terms of stereotypes is that family businesses are inherited. My family, for example, somewhere still in South America, we have a family-owned bakery that's passed from generation to generation. That's still ongoing and it's still open. Um, but it's again that's kind of what I feel. That's what I kind of feel when it comes to the shoemaking stuff. I'm like, okay, if that's what they chose, and then obviously that's just they're just passing that down through the family to keep going.
Yeah, somebody's got to make shoes.
Yeah, I will jump to uh I I guess the introduction to the rest of the family when they return to the shoe shop, the shoemaking room. There's a we kind of get a sense of the dichotomy. Obviously, Abuela runs everything, um, but we get the sense that you know there's some individual personalities under that roof. Like his parents, Miguel's parents aren't super defined, but we get little bits here and there that help to flesh them out on a more subtextual level. Um, and I think that kind of starts with the shoe opening bit, where they're on Abuela's side for the broad stuff, but they still listen to their son.
Yeah, that would
Yes.
be the bare bones of it. I'd say the dad gets
Yeah,
a little bit more than the mom does.
yeah. I'll
He,
touch on this again because I think the dad actually there's a really what I think a very very important shot later on in the film for me, or at least a little bit later in the opening here before he crosses into the other world. Um, that I think is very important in fleshing out at least his dad a little bit. But yeah.
No, it's good because something maybe you can help me with a thing I have about the dad towards the end of the movie.
I think I know what you're
Maybe.
talking about. Because if it is what I think it is, I had a question mark
Yeah, as
when
soon
you
as it
said it.
happened, I went, "Ooh, that's gonna be talking about that." Uh,
Yeah,
being a Pixar
both are
movie,
thinking the same thing.
there are certainly Easter eggs they like to use. I hope we all caught at 4 minutes the Pizza Planet truck driving by.
Hope has been dashed because I did not.
Oh, it took up the whole screen.
Best bet is I was at looking at my notes. That's my safety. That's what I say. I did not see a Pizza Planet truck.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna be that guy. The fuck is Pizza Planet? Where is that from?
that's
Holy, that's worse than what I said, Sprinks.
that is worse. That is certainly
I
worse.
know. Yeah,
Right.
because it's tickling a memory, but I don't
Well,
remember where it's from.
well, let's go where it first originated. Toy Story 1, where they go to Pizza
Okay.
Planet.
All
That
right.
Toyota yellow truck is in every Pixar movie.
Okay.
Easter egg that carries on in each
Yeah.
one.
Also,
That's
the
Yeah, I
the
don't. Toy
wording or
Story One is the least watched Toy Story movie I've seen. So
okay, Toy Story
There's
2,
been four more.
when they drive it to the airport.
that one I do remember. Okay. All right.
But
I didn't
Toy
know
Story
that it
four
was
more
a
than the
regular
first one.
cameo.
yeah, what was that, Crimson?
Did Ryder just say has seen the fourth movie more than the first movie?
Unfortunately, yes.
That's horrific.
That's a
I
crime.
agree. I agree.
Sounds like you got to watch the first one again. Um, they Pixar also does the, I guess, lettering, but also numbering of A113 in every movie. I did not catch it in Coco. I would guess that it's in here somewhere, but that's the number of the animation room where like Pixar first started. Was room A113.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even think a point in the movie that has numbers in it.
Well, I did catch a couple numbers. I don't know if they help you too in any way, but Ernesto de la Cruz died in 1942, and the shoe, I guess, house, the shoe store was established in 1921. Those are kind of the only
Making
dates I
boots.
have. I don't know when the movie takes place year-wise.
Well, I mean, you can think of it generationally, I guess. Like,
It could
so
take place
22.
in quote unquote modern day, but I feel like we would see some more cell phones. But that's just me.
Well, we'd have to work with guesstimates, right? So, Coco, how old do you guys think she is? 80,
90s.
90 range? 90s? I would also lean
Yeah,
with
she's
90s.
wheelchair bound. Could even be over 100.
I would say 90s to 100 because she still remembers her dad from before the shoe shop,
Yeah.
which was established in 1921.
And the flashback is of her, uh, what do you think, like 5, 6 range singing
Yeah,
with her dad?
4 or
4,
5.
5. Yeah. And the shoe shop was after he left, right? After
Yes.
Hector left. So, yeah, I would probably place this in the, yeah, probably relevant of when it came out, around 2010s era. I think that would make sense.
It fits.
Okay. It'll bring up a
Uh,
question about Hector and Imelda later, but
Sure.
Probably a good idea. uh, whose point was that?
I brought up the Pizza Planet car and then just brought up time stuff if that was needed.
Oh yeah, we tangented it off. Okay. Crimson.
Okay. I guess on the family bit, a lot of the family we don't really get anything.
They
Like
exist.
pretty much. I mean, you got the guy that shoots shoes into the ceiling at a regular basis, I guess. That's the whole family does that. It's kind of interesting how the shoes are all like spread out throughout the ceiling. I would imagine it would have been localized at where the machine is. That's kind of nitpicky. But.
A little.
So I guess it's a little bit of character that he's, I guess, the family goofball, if anything. I don't know.
Family goofball, or he's uh
The family
for some
klutz.
reason that's how they test the durability of their shoes.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, the shoe that went into the ceiling later did fall down, correct?
Yeah, that one did.
So there's a
Yep.
hole in the ceiling?
I get what you're going towards.
It just aids
Uh,
something.
we don't know how far into the ceiling, but it probably made a hole.
Okay.
And I agree with what you're setting up.
I'll just spill the beans on it. Miguel playing a guitar and listening to a television set in his hideout, which is just above the factory, I feel like should be heard by the family.
100,000%.
Yeah, I think not while all the machines are working, they probably wouldn't be able to hear it.
His hideout should have
But
been
I
somewhere
would
else.
say his hideout should have been somewhere else. One, two. I think they. It's still too easy of a mistake. They could be closing down for the night, and all the machines could be off, and they could still hear him. So they would have found his hideout earlier. That, or they knew that he had a hideout and just didn't care until they realized he was playing music and he was running around with a guitar.
I
But
don't agree
still,
with
it's
that last
convenient.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, they Well, don't they drag stuff from his hideout
They
out
do. They're
on the
like
like put it on the floor?
throwing record players and records on the ground. But then that went into my questioning of why did Miguel show them where the hideout was?
Yeah, that's also a question I have. I had no reason as to think that he would do that. I have no reason to think why he would have run outside with the guitar.
Well, he thought he could sway, I guess, his family into believing what he's believing. But they're just concerned why he's on the roof. And my guess is like he's on the roof and he's like, well, because of this, and shows them the hideout rather than just being like saying like, oh, I can see the plaza better from up here.
And there's the chance, and I'm not going to apply it because they don't do anything with it. Of kind of what Ryder said, where the family knows of the hideout, but they don't know what he does in the hideout. I would still find issues with them not being able to hear anything he does in the hideout, but they might know of the hideout.
Yeah. I mean, because the reason I would lean that way is because I think it's normal for families to give kids their space to make their own to make their own hideouts, to make their own little pillow forts, to you know do what you want them to do, or to give them that freedom. So I would be okay with that, but I'm again the same problem still arises. There's no way they wouldn't hear him at some point.
I mean, a quick line while they're throwing stuff in the yard would be like, "We didn't give you that space to break the family's trust," or something along those lines.
Oh,
That would
that could help.
clean that up.
Yeah, that would be the quick fix that I would give a thumbs up to. Yeah, good stuff. Uh, on that note, since we're kind of on the scene right now, I'll jump to one of my other points about that scene is the brief look when Abuela is about to smash Miguel's guitar. The camera, makes a point to show Miguel's dad, like he thinks that's crossing a line. Again,
Both
very
his
very
parents
quick.
could do it.
Yeah, yeah. So he sees it right before Abuela's about to. So like he understands what she's about to do. He sees that as crossing a line. Uh, and I do appreciate that little bit. So it's one of those things that helps, I think, at least establish who he is without necessarily us spending a ton of time with him.
Yeah.
I suppose on a surface level. I mean, who knows? Maybe the dad also liked music as a kid and got snuffed out by his mom.
Very possible.
Could be.
It's in their blood, for all we know. Springs. Going back to you.
Sure, you want an overarching big question or small one?
Get a big one.
All right,
Throw something in
here's
the
a
big
big one.
one.
It feels like Hector tries to get back to his family every year to see Coco, his daughter, and it just doesn't work because no photos up and nothing can be scanned. Does the photo on the fenda of his face cutout not count as him?
Well, the scan is of a face. That it might literally be that. Like the body's not identifiable to the machine. It has to be a face match.
Yeah, I mean that's still a reason I think great Abuela shows up in the undead as her old self, is because they chose to put an old picture of her rather than one of her being younger.
Oh, interesting. I guess that's a good that probably makes more sense than my thought of it. I thought they just look the way how they died. But the photo makes more sense.
Yeah, I assume it's just the photo related as to how they appear in the, I guess, the underworld, which is why Hector still looks like his young self because there's still a photo of him. It's just not on display, both in his possession and also one in the overworld, the real world.
Well, he also died young.
That is also
Yeah,
true.
that made me think it's when they die because Coco doesn't look like a little girl. But
Yeah, he's a weird case because he died young, but his images of him are also young. So it's kind of there's no example.
could be either or then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only ones I could say is the younger like the previous generation, like with
The twins and the uncle
the
and
twins, the uncles, like they probably could have had better photos and more photos of them, but they
maybe
chose those ones specifically, which is why.
I'm on a 50-50. Maybe those also could be of when they died.
I have to. I think the way to confirm it is to see if their clothes match their abuela or not abuela. What was the
The photos, the
what?
ofenda.
Yeah, Frenda. That's what it was. Um, see if it matches because I think that would kind of confirm the photo theory.
Well, Hector's clothes don't match.
That's also true. What?
It also
Well,
does
actually, it
look like
also doesn't make sense because they make clothes in the underworld.
that's
So
true.
I
It also
guess
looks
it would be
like
better.
Ernesto de la Cruz also just stole Hector's outfit.
Which also brings up the question: how did Noah, not no one, but how did Miguel not notice that that was Dela Cruz's outfit?
Oh, I don't know. He just recognized the guitar. He should have having a whole shrine to Dela Cruz. Should have recognized it, but
100% should have recognized it.
Yeah, he bases it off the guitar, but I think it is supposed to be De La Cruz's outfit. Yeah, or at least Hector's outfit that was stolen. Not
okay.
sure. But yeah, I feel like that's something Miguel would comment on at some point.
Okay, so I guess you just need photo identification in an offenda to be able to travel.
Yeah, it's more than just like a photo of you existing out somewhere. It has to be on the mantle.
Well, that's what I was getting at. It was on the
Celebrated.
mantle.
But you need the face. That's
Okay.
where I'm at.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Esmeralda wasn't allowed to cross back over, right? Because remember,
Well, it
the
was
photo was with Miguel.
of that year.
For,
What I'm getting at is Hector every year trying to get back to his daughter if that was on the offenda every time. I doubt when he's being forgotten is his one attempt to go over to the other side.
Oh yeah,
it's the lady that scans the face. She had a whole like reaction to oh you again type deal. So I could definitely buy that he's tried this before. Definitely.
Okay. Also, with that photo being restored, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping to the end of this, but they put a photo of Abuela up, or not of Coco up when she died, looking that age. So that's how kind of she's depicted as a skeleton. Isn't the photo also of Imelda and Hector with Coco? She could have also been that age, since that's on the offenda.
Good counter. I think that actually cancels out the
I
photo
think
theory.
I think that would have been a little more touching if she's walking as an old age into Hector's arms and it's like a close up of him almost crying, and when he pulls back, it's her as a kid.
I mean that's how I would do it, but uh, but yeah, no, that's a good point. I have no idea what the rules are. It's we're only guessing based on what they've given us.
Well, now that the photo theory is out, I guess it is of
When they died,
them as they died.
I don't know. I think it could still be 50-50 because there is an old photo of Coco on the mantle or on the offenda too.
Yeah, but she's not portrayed as a child either.
Actually, in that scene, do we see the photo placed on the offenda first by Abuelita, or do we see her reunite with Hector first? Because if the reunion's first, then it is death because that photo wasn't on the offenda yet.
Just looking at the notes. Darn it, didn't give me enough info. I'm not sure the order. I feel like the mantle was first, but I can't say
You know what?
definitively on that.
I think right now I'm at a 55-45. And the 55 being that they look how they died.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
Though
that
I think I
seems
would
to.
prefer the photo idea.
Yeah, I think that's the best, at least the best explanation for what we have. I have other questions about it, but there's nothing super definitive to really like hard pull me one way or the other.
Yeah, I think they both have good cases to sway.
World building point inconclusive.
Ah, an old tack to the objective scale for you.
Yeah, like I said, it's um. If I kind of want to treat it like as a soft magic system. There, it's not that it's inconsistent. I just don't understand it.
Well, I feel like this movie kind of does that. It doesn't explain everything you want answered.
Yeah, which is
Dante.
okay,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
Dante.
which is yeah. Dante is also a little weird. We sorted out the problems at the end, but I don't know if he's supposed to be a spirit animal the whole time and just in disguise, or if it's just he turns into one after Miguel points out, "Oh man, you really are a spirit animal."
Or any and all animals are spirit animals if they stay in the afterlife long enough, or vice versa.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not being super definitive in the world building. It's not taking away from the story as of yet, but I just have questions.
Yeah. If you may, I would like to jump to a joke that I did not find funny. I actually found it
Oh,
rather rude.
all
Whoa.
right.
When Abuelita is explaining to Miguel what the offender stands for and why they do it, and Miguel's trying to walk away.
Yeah. I
And he
think the
does it
only
twice.
I thought you were
yeah.
done talking.
Yeah.
I
I
found that
think
really rude.
Miguel yeah, it's very rude. I think the implication is that Miguel hears this every year. And that's normal for a kid at some point to be annoyed with listening to the same lecture every year about how important this is. So it's normal for them to be not doing that, but I agree that it is rude.
I do
So I
find it
don't
within Miguel to be rude, though. There's
Yes.
stuff later that I did not like him doing, but I could see him
No,
doing
I
it.
think it's in character for him here and all that, but I get it's a joke of like, when someone older or wiser is trying to tell you something and you're just bored and you want to get back to doing something more entertaining as a kid. I think it pertains to kids more that way of like, oh, I can see myself in that shoes. But it's still maybe I'm just old enough to understand like it's like, hey, maybe it is important to like listen to it and make her
man,
at least
we're
at least compromise and be nice to her. Maybe she'll be nice to you that way.
Yeah, but I think you hit the nail on the head with the kind of a kid's point of view. I'm sure we all did this as kids to some degree, and maybe not to this length, but all right, Grandpa, can we move on to something else?
yeah. I think it works, but the way they play the turn of the scene is supposed to be at least something for kids to laugh at. Um, but yeah, I think it works functionally. I don't really have an issue with it. It's just yeah, I just agree. It wasn't really a funny joke to me. I can agree with that. Crimson, point to jump to.
Yeah, I'll talk about Miguel's custom guitar. I like it. It's cool because the tuning pegs were just nails, which was cool. And then I later noticed that the frets were also nails that he like glued in or something. And the dots that are usually on the neck of the guitar were also just nails. It's just ramshackled. Even the bridge you use to attach the strings, nails. It's all very rudimentary,
Getting what he
but
could find in a shoe store
looked pretty good. Yeah,
or
Yeah,
shoe shop.
it was good
and
detail they
also
put
it works
into
because
creating that.
it shows the effort he's willing to go to as well to want to do this. Because obviously his family would never buy him an actual guitar.
Yeah,
True, true, true. I can go with another overarching question.
All right.
Is the guitar Hector's or Ernesto de la Cruz, the guitar, is it cursed?
You're touching on one of the biggest issues I have with the movie, I think. What the
Yeah. This
curse
is
is.
probably for me where it's like I needed to understand the world building for this. This is where the world building is definitely an issue, and the plot might be an issue.
Yes.
It's-
I lean it is cursed, but there is still a problem with it.
What does the curse mean to you? Is it the curse, the reference of like a living person in the afterworld? Or...
Yeah, the curse is like using the guitar sends you to the afterlife kind of thing because he does it once and that's kind of the start of it, and then he gets the blessing, goes with the music again, and gets sent back. But then again, I think that's just breaking the curse. My problem with it is when he starts using the guitar to play Remember Me to Coco, and it does nothing. Unless the movie's trying to state at that point the curse is lifted.
So it goes to what is the curse, and they said that he stole from the dead, and that's what the curse was, and that is the root of my issue. Is how is everybody reacting to a living person like it's the first thing the first time it's ever happened? Uh, when what they established was it was because he stole from the dead. So many people throughout history have done that. So I think the way they portray that is awful.
I do believe grave robbers were a profession.
Exactly.
And in this world, they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't steal anything from people in the underworld, right?
Not stealing, no.
He does.
He's
Yeah,
given
they
things.
earn the guitar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's one of the larger issues. I think it is cursed, but I'm not 100% sure about I guess the levels of how it functions because he does strum it once and then we see the orange flower petals glow to kind of signify that he's
Dead.
not exactly, yeah, that he's crossed the world. He's
Or,
crossed into the other world. Yeah.
yeah. He's Danny Phantom himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
maybe it is cursed. Yeah.
I,
But
again, I think it is cursed to explain the whole going back to the afterlife and all that. But I wish they explained more that the curse is lifted for him to play it to Coco.
I guess that's
Because what I think
where we
is what I think is to the point of so silly it's stupid is if the curse only works on um what was it? Dia de los Muertos.
yeah, Dia de los Muertos. I think that would be the other argument that you could make. Uh, he doesn't send um it doesn't send what's her face it doesn't send him back when he's playing for Coco because it's the next day. So Dia de los Muertos is over.
Yes, but then it also goes in why does it only work on that day?
Yeah, I have no idea.
well, why doesn't the guy that pick up the guitar off the ground get cursed then?
I don't think he
Forgetting that
uses
the
it.
guitar itself is the curse. Miguel didn't
Or
use it on the second time,
or it goes that he's not stealing it.
which
Well,
goes
the
to
second
me
time
as
he
like
broke the second time I attributed that he broke his vow.
He broke his
Like the
blessing.
reason he
Yeah.
got his yeah, he broke his blessing to go back.
Which my nitpick with that is why did it teleport him all the way back to the office?
Oh, that was another issue I had. It shouldn't have. It should. He should have been able to cross the bridge again.
Yeah, that was a way to just speed up the story.
That is what we call a movie moment.
I guess Sprinks for the curse guitar angle and why it might not have worked later is he did it on the pedals, which is the path to the afterlife. So he didn't have the path to the afterlife when he played to Coco. So that might have been a factor.
That could be it. because when he's reaching for the guitar, the pedals shimmer before he's even done anything, really.
That might
That
be a
could work, I
workaround for
see.
that theory.
Sure, that could be implement.
But what would you say causes a curse or a cursed item?
Someone to curse it, which I think Imelda did upon Hector leaving. And you could say that the curse is like could lead to the reason why Hector died. But that's a little bit of a stretch. It's not like the guitar's a Horcrux and made Ernesto poison Hector because of it.
Yeah.
The magic appearing poison. We'll get to it.
There's like I said, that was probably my first major issue. Is like I don't my best guess is that it is either cursed or I like the pedal idea. But I got again, it's one of those things I'm just not fully sure as to what happens.
Yeah, not fully explained.
I guess by the end of it, is there any objective issues with it? I guess Ryder first.
Um, I do have an objective issue with this because the entire story relies upon the crux of this, and we've thrown out a couple explanations. This is something they needed to be a little bit more definitive on. So I'm leaning towards yes, it is an objective problem.
All right, and for myself, I don't view it as a cursed object. I just view it as a like world's law that the guy said stealing from the dead was the curse. So the negative to me is on the world as a whole of people stealing from the dead not having this effect. And from what it appears to everybody's reaction in the afterlife, like Miguel's the first living person over there, just doesn't make sense to me. So that's where my issues would take place with it. Springs.
Okay, and I go that the guitar is cursed, but I don't have the explanation of how the curse is lifted.
So the objective issue would be the lack of explanation on the curse going away.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, neat. We all have a issue with it.
Yeah, we'd all have an issue with it. I will jump to I guess another thing I quite liked, which was when he first arrives in the otherworld. Obviously, they don't show him glowing like everybody else. Everyone has got that orange haze glow around them.
I have that as a nitpick.
Yeah, that's definitely for the visual to kind of surprise the audience. Ooh, um, but what I liked about that was uh, him just showing how the other family, like the other dead people, are partaking in meeting their family. So like we have the guy sitting and he's drinking his offerings, and then we see two older people like look how big she's getting. We kind of get those little flashes that I really like because that's very much what the belief of Dia de los Muertos is. So I like the portrayal of that with the random people around him.
Yeah. No, that's very good. We don't have the skill yet. We're gonna do it on the recap. But to me, it's more than a nitpick, but I think less than an issue. So I don't know what exactly that vein is. But I have that, whatever it is, with Miguel coming out of Ernesto de la Cruz's like tomb, and upon falling in the grave, there's not a single skeleton around.
I agree, and I also don't think that it's well represented on how many there should be. There should be a lot more skeleton people around.
Yeah, the the Land of the Dead looks really really cool, but I feel like that would be place would be a little bit bigger.
Well, a lot of the presumably a lot of the people within the underworld have people to come back to. We don't know the percentage of how many have been put on a mantle, but I would imagine a good chunk of them,
I
because at
do
least
I
there's
do
help.
like that one. I do like the one shot, I guess, of when we're on the orange bridge and we get a side view of like other orange bridges. So we get the implication this is not the only one. It's just this one is the
Going to different graveyards. Yeah.
yeah. It kind of implies this is the one to Miguel's hometown's graveyard.
I also don't think the afterlife is so populated because there's probably a lot who have been forgotten and are double dead or final death,
Yeah.
which I guess it helps
Also,
explains like the
ass-
site.
yeah, and assuming that this afterlife is worldwide, there's a lot of people that don't celebrate this holiday. So they would just be there with no mantle. So that would also be something.
Or they have their own version of the land of the dead being heaven. I don't know how that works with cross belief systems.
Yeah,
But
that's what
for
I'm
the sake of
saying.
this film, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to assume that the land of the dead exists for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know how this coexists with other religions and beliefs in this world. And I don't think this movie needs to touch on that.
No, it gets into choppy waters if you go that route.
Yeah, that you don't need to explain how Thor can talk to Khonshu.
Exactly, because that might bring up its own issues. Marvel.
A moment I do like is when Miguel's trying to figure out how to find a guitar, and he comes across the plaza of the Ernesto de la Cruz statue with the Seize the Moment, and his light bulb moment is a firework going off. I think that really helped play into that visual.
Yeah, it was a
uh,
nice little detail to throw in.
yeah, I agree with that. It looks very. It's a nice little just. Ooh, I've got an idea, or I understand. It works.
Yeah, but it fits more than like streetlights coming on kind of thing.
Yes, in this movie for sure.
Yeah, that would feel a little bit more cliched if it was like that. Uh, on the topic of a guitar, though, the I guess the main guitar, whoever owns it, uh, is that the real one in the mausoleum or crypt or whatever?
I would think so.
It wasn't destroyed by the bell landing on it and Dela Cruz.
I'm going to guess not,
Okay.
as that's what I think. The bell
Yeah.
killed him, but we don't see the actual damage of what it did.
The bell. You mean the one at the end?
No, the 1942
No,
one.
the original one.
Oh, yeah. It's presumed that he definitely died. I think. If I'm still understanding
No,
No,
what's
it's
happening.
confirmed. That's how he
I
died.
think what Crimson's getting at is how is the guitar unscathed from being having a bell drop
Oh,
on it?
yeah, yeah. Okay. I it well, okay. See, that ruins the curse argument, right? Is that it could be a replica because it would be
Hmm.
famous enough that their replicas would exist.
I
I
think
guess
it's
percentage wise, what do you think are the odds the guitar survived the bell?
Survived, no. Repaired, you can definitely get that in the hands of an expert and repair it.
oh, this is like the ship
Ship
of
of Theseus.
Theseus.
Yeah.
Great. In that case, 50-50.
Like I said, I mean, like you said, there are experts out there who could make it perfectly fine again and still use a majority of the same wood. It would just take forever. So
Okay. I wish there was some some evidence
definitiveness.
of it
Yeah,
getting damaged.
yeah.
Um,
It'd be easy if he just like before it crushed him, he ended up dropping it out of shock, or like he handed it off because he was just busy orating the final strums of the song without any music, and then the bell came down. It would be the easy fix.
I would take that. I like that. Uh, I'm going to go with it definitely got destroyed in the bell. Whether or not it got repaired or not, I don't have the evidence for that. So
Yeah,
I
that's just a
yeah.
guess. Uh, do I have anything to add to that? Probably not. Um, I jumping back a little bit. Is it because he's obviously he's very? I do like he's kind of. I guess one of the scenes I really like. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Is when Miguel is in his hideout and he's kind of meditating almost like he's listening to the compilation, the best hits compilation edited videos together. Um, and he starts playing the music and he closes his eyes and he starts kind of meditating and relaxing. I really appreciate that because that's what I guess a lot of people use music for. It's just they use it to meditate, relax, etc.
Well, he feels the music. It's his inspiration. So, yeah, meditation.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job with the old movies or interviews footage of Dela Cruz. Of even if you don't know the twist of his actual personality, you can read it as he's pompous and full of himself,
Oh
even
yeah.
if they don't do it overboard.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They do a very good job of illustrating who he is, and that's that. This is jumping ahead. That's I would say is even reinforced more with the party. He when he realizes he has a grandson, he uses it to be the center of the attention. Like he goes around bragging to everybody, so it's giving him another reason to be the talk of the town because the real boy is the talk of the town. So he's using it to be at the center of attention.
Yeah.
Yes. It does play into two nitpicks I have. Where the first one is, if I can remember it now, which is very upsetting. The first one is that like Ernesto de la Cruz is the only celebrity in the afterlife.
You got Frida.
Man, I I don't know if Frida I would say is Frida's just like a very well known costume designer or stage
We
show presenter who does things for Ernesto.
do also see the famous wrestler that shows up in the line that the security guard gets an autograph from. So there are other famous people there. It just comes across as Ernesto as the most famous musician that is there.
True, I'm just like there's no president place or um, movie star or well, I guess Ernesto is a movie star. I just mean like it just feels like Ernesto de la Cruz is the only one kind of thing.
He's definitely the only one that matters to the story.
Yeah. My second little nitpick to it is that I'm fine that they show footage of him living from the real world, which how it's kind of explained as a astral projection version of something from being crossed over can be taken with you to the afterlife. So taking like films of him is fine. I find it a little weird that everyone has like posters though of Dela Cruz around town of when he was living and not as a skeleton.
Well, yeah, people can get things from the living world if it was given to them through a shrine. And Dela Cruz has a vault full of offerings, so I could buy people giving like posters and Dela Cruz accepting them and then giving them out because he cares about his image a lot, and he probably preferred his living image more. I don't know. That's kind of hard to say if he prefer his living image than his undead
We also
image.
don't know how much of a society there is down there. There could be a printing press for all we know.
Could be. I don't
Yeah,
know. I just feel like there should be
they have
more
computers.
of him
They
dead
have
in the afterlife than living.
yeah. Yeah, they have computers. Uh, they have a lot of things. I think that there's an implication that there's a bit of a society there. So I don't have an issue with everyone having a poster of De La Cruz. But the interesting thing that it brings up is, I guess, how much he values his life in compares how much he's valuing his afterlife. Because there might be like, I feel like there should be equal amount of posters of him also as undead, De La Cruz.
It does feel like he, being a thief and stealing things, the only thing for his fame is stealing Remember Me and not making like any other song or anything else.
It comes across as like all the songs he stole, right?
From
All of his
Hector,
songs were Hector's. Yeah.
but it seems I don't think he stole all of them. He stole Remember Me, made it a hit, and that's what he's living off of or staying with. So everything I think connected to the living of that. He didn't like make more songs on his own with the help of that or steal other songs to use because in the afterlife I don't think he's making more songs in the afterlife. It's just Remember Me,
Most likely. I
which
mean,
could help explain
after
the hold on his younger self.
after he killed Hector, he got his notebook, I guess, and he probably made more songs when he was alive based off the notebook. But I agree. In afterlife, I doubt he's made anything new.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Crimson Point.
Grandma smashing that guitar, very extra. I
Oh
can
yeah,
buy it because she's quite extra herself, but it's pretty vicious.
it's vicious, and then just the immediate caressing Miguel's cheek.
Spending time with the family will fix everything.
Yeah,
Grandma,
Yeah, yeah, it
family is what
was
just destroyed my
Grandma,
guitar.
Grandma, now is not the time.
yeah.
um, in a yeah, it works for her character. I think. Um, there are at least I've definitely have my experienced my share of that like dual side of uh, I guess a matriarch in a Latina family where they are very very strict one moment or and then are very loving the next moment. So it's very it's an exaggerated version of the dichotomy, I think, but it's still a version of the dichotomy. But yes, I agree. Very extra. Sprinks point.
Yes, I do like the dialogue of writing between um, Imelda and Miguel when they're before like she gives him the blessing with the caveat of they think they're talking about the same person without ever saying the name of the person. So Miguel's always talking to about Ernesto de la
De la
Cruz,
Cruz. Yeah.
and Imelda's talking about Hector, but they never like
Yeah.
Drop
um,
hints to each other.
drop hints, but never clarify to one another exactly like who they're talking about. And I think it worked very well in their conversation. Also to keep the
Yes.
surprise.
It is a bit convenient, but I think there is enough justification on both ends to prevent it from being an outright problem. So I also quite like the dialogue because they're pushing the problem down the road for the surprise because it's obviously very easy to listen. Your Hector left me or something like that. It's very easy to just drop something like that, but they do a good enough job that like Esmeralda can't even say the name because she's just that angry with Hector.
Yes, and that goes into the time thing I brought up earlier. Do you think 50 plus years in the afterlife is enough time to stay mad at your
To forgive
husband?
somebody.
I
The love of your life, as
yeah,
she yells it later. Um, I'm not sure. The reason I'm not sure is because it's kind of implied they haven't seen each other
but she
like at
knows he's
all.
dead.
Yeah, she knows he's dead, but she just never went out to look for him. Is kind of what the implication is because she moved on, and now she still has her loving family. So it doesn't. She doesn't really have an excuse to go looking for him. But I feel like Hector would have tried to find her.
Well, on a darker side is she said she tried to forget him, and she made the rule with her family and everything. So she might have thought he was not even there anymore.
That could be. I guess that goes on to
Ooh,
Hector then
that's
for not reaching out to his
very
family.
true. Yeah, I mean the most I can gather is maybe Hector did, and when he found them, he saw them all being happy without him and chose to not join in because he didn't want to ruin something.
Oh, that whole
Which could have been
standing outside the window on Christmas, seeing a different family inside kind of thing.
yeah, it could have been something like that that played out on his end. But again, not really sure. So
That would explain the scene of him trying to cross the bridge for his introduction within eyesight of the whole family, and no one mentions anything.
yeah, like I don't think any of them have seen him before.
But he also didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he recognized Esmeralda immediately. He's like, "Hey, you look good," you know. So he does. They recognize each other. So there is that. Um, it's just interesting, I guess, that they didn't play or they didn't answer whether Hector did go searching, and because I think it could buy Esmeralda just didn't bother.
Well, the family, like the dead family, only knows the dead family members from the mantle, and Hector was never on the mantle, and um, what was her name?
He was never at the family
Imelda
gatherings.
never talked about him. So I don't think any of the dead people knew of him,
Yeah,
Do you think?
and he wouldn't have known about them because
Okay,
the shrine didn't exist of
that
them yet.
that helps explain that. Like, I don't think Hector would have known any of them then.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's never crossed over to see what the shrine even looks like.
I do have a funny little point because we kind of talked about broad stuff with the Land of the Dead. Uh, I will say that I find it funny that if photographs are what depict like the Land of the Dead, what did the Land of the Dead do before photographs?
Sketches, like
Maybe
cave drawings.
like maybe cave drawings, but there could also be like paintings, I guess, because they do like family portraits. I guess could
Yeah.
be done. That would have been the verification system until photographs, I guess.
Well, then the verification system is, old computers. They could have done it a different way before upgrading to that.
That's true. Once the computer scientists started dying and they upgraded the Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny to think about.
It's kind of interesting to think about this civilization in the underworld. It's like, let's say hypothetically that they have a president or something, some sort of leader,
Hierarchy.
and in the real world they get forgotten, and then boom, in the underworld their leader has died. It just fades away.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a
That'd be
giant
funny.
funeral procession. That
I
would be
think that
interesting to see. Like
might be near impossible, but
we're getting theoretically
Depends
a
on them.
Coco too, so we'll see.
oh, interesting. I do think I don't think there's a way that Ernesto de la Cruz is going to get forgotten.
No,
No.
I don't think so either. Maybe within his hometown, but
Oh,
like
you just reminded me. I think a ride is being built in California Adventure of a Coco like river ride.
A
oh,
river ride?
interesting.
I
Kind of a
think.
weird choice. I would have done it as like the cat flying, like a flying ride, kind of like the hippogriff thing in the Hogwarts.
Oh, so a roller coaster?
I think that would make more sense. There's not really any water in this except the pit he gets dropped into.
I think they're gonna try to make it like a dark ride, kind of, just like a sit and, but the water being like a little bit of the thrill.
Kind of a combination between like Pirates of the Caribbean and It's a Small World After All.
Yeah, That's what I'm gonna guess they're gonna try to do.
Okay. If you haven't guessed, audience, we've all been to Disneyland.
And I guess furthermore, all been to California Adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Crimson's the one I'm never 100% sure on.
Well, that's where the
That's-
soaring over California
Yes.
is, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I did do that.
Starting with California was a famous ride, I guess I enjoy. I used to love that ride growing up.
It's no longer that
Terrified me
anymore.
too. Yeah, what is it now?
It's just called Soarin', but it's like Soarin' of the world. It used to be like just California stuff, and now it's the whole world.
Okay. I don't know if I've been on the new version yet. Interesting. Though I think last time I was there, I was preoccupied with doing all the new Marvel stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the Star Wars Land, because I hadn't been to Star Wars Land yet either. Back to Coco. Springs point.
Sure. At 32:45, I like when Miguel's trying to run away from the security guard as the family's finding him before he like meets up with Hector. That it cuts to the security guard looking at the crowd from like Miguel's kind of point of view to not show Miguel. That way he doesn't just up and vanish to blend into the crowd kind of thing. It actually gets the camera off of him for him to move.
Yes.
I see what you mean, yes.
Good. It's always annoying when they do those disappearing scenes, and you're like, well, why would they do that? That doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. At
'cause
least
they just
here there's plausible
get covered.
deniability of it.
Now, is Dante responsible for him running into Hector? Because it's very convenient that he just ends up in the same place where Hector's being interrogated and going on, oh yeah, I know De La Cruz. We go way back.
That's too much for me. I'm putting it
Maybe.
inconvenience.
I'll say maybe. Because
You're saying
I
maybe?
can't tell if Dante knows what he's doing.
Yeah. If Dante was like more defined, like if he later on, when after Miguel is sent back, we get like a scene of him in the panther cat thing that can fly. We could see him being a little bit more dignified, like he puts on a dumb persona specifically for Miguel and the family, but we see like that mask change, and he's still a very small dog. Maybe like it's still maybe it was his first like real test as a spirit guide, but to see like him just turn into a really serious dog or something like that would show a good contrast. If they did that, I would also say this is probably, I would be okay with this scene not being a convenience, but as it is a convenience for me.
Yeah, because they kind of give Dante intelligence later when he's trying to drag Dante or like, bite at him to pull him. And then Dante like interprets that later as something.
Yeah. Could be.
Another convenience revolving around Dante is also revolving around the grandma of when Miguel was leaving to go to the festival or the plaza, and he's in the shrine area, and that's when the family arrives and Dante's shoved under the table with the guitar. Man, Miguel's unlucky with timing with his grandma. That's all I'll say. It seems to be inconvenient every single time. If he left earlier, he would have been out. If he left after that, also would have been fine. It had to be that exact moment.
If he left it in a different way.
Yeah, there's so much I would just label as convenience here. Even Dante sitting under the table for a while before jumping up to eat, in of itself, seems convenient to me.
Yeah. I do like that we have a brief snippet of him sniffing the food, like he can smell it. But agreed, it's Dante as the dog has no reason to hide. Springs, yeah.
Sure. I like at 34 minutes when Miguel and Hector are in the phone booth that the audio is noticeably changed to a more enticed room. It doesn't sound like they're just talking normally to one another. It's actually the environment has changed the audio.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do like that when Miguel is trying to get the other family members to give him a blessing, they all, I want to say too scared to give it to him, but that doesn't seem like the right word. They just know that Esmeralda is the one in charge.
They're intimidated by her.
They're intimidated. She is clearly the matriarch of the family. Crimson.
So I'll talk about Hector dying, I guess, with his portrait to bring with him to the afterlife. I don't fully understand that.
A broader topic. I also have no idea. Unless maybe when he was buried, De La Cruz literally just buried him with a photo of Hector, because obviously De La Cruz would want to be buried with a photo of himself, so he figured his friend would want it. That's me writing for the writers
I was like,
here. I have
that's a
no
lot.
idea. Yeah, that's me writing for the writers here. I have no idea why he died with a photograph of himself. We see that people keep their possessions.
Input on the matter, Springs?
I don't know why Hector would have a photo of himself when dying.
It would make
But
more sense if it was a photo of if it was another family photo with him, Esmeralda, and his daughter.
That would be preferable than just a headshot. Because we know he wasn't gifted it from someone on the living side, because he has never crossed over. So he had to have died with it. And I think that's way too strange, which is unfortunate because it's a very important part of the movie.
Yeah. If it was another family photo that he was buried with, I think it works a little bit more. But I'm in agreement. That's I would label that as a bit of an issue.
I have it at whatever our highest tier is going to be. If it's problem or issue, whatever it may be, it's the
highest tier.
It's
Yeah.
a big objective issue for me.
I've been
it's so
dying what
important
that's
to the
been called.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with him having a picture of himself, but like I said, functionally it works in the story. I think they just need to change the picture.
Yeah, but with what it is now, it's not good.
Yeah. I don't think I'm as high as you, Crimson, but I think our difference is mostly like I think it functions fine. I think it's just the image itself would probably be different, but everything else around it, story wise, I think works, which is probably why it's not the highest for me. But it's probably mid to high, I would say, on my scale in my head.
Sprinks, thoughts on the photo or how you would rate it, I guess.
I just don't know why he would have a photo of himself on him. It makes sense to me that being on him, he'd die and he'd have it with him because he can't travel over to go get a copy of it. What explains enough to me why he has it. I just don't know why he died with it. Unless he just has a photo of himself in his notebook, but there's no additional copy of his notebook that he's shown around in the afterlife. So it's just the photo itself.
Yeah.
So where does that, is that a nitpick? Larger than a nitpick?
I have it as a convenience. I can find it believable for him to have a photo of himself. I just don't know why he would have it on him.
Yeah, it functions well enough as a MacGuffin, is what it is, because the photo is a MacGuffin.
Yes. So I guess convenience might be right under. Well, no, we don't know yet. We haven't ironed all these out till the recap. It's so crazy that this is the season that we're like exploding on this, and seasons past we've just been like common.
Yeah, it happens to be our longest run, one of our longest running seasons too, which just makes it funnier.
Well, convenience I wouldn't even put on the scale because you can have a nitpick convenience or a huge issue convenience. I don't think it's
I think it can be brought up.
a descriptor.
Yeah, that'll be something to talk about. Yeah, it's convenient that they survived the moon crashing onto the planet, but what are you gonna do? um, I quite like. It's very quick, but I like that Miguel offers an opinion to the actors and stuff like that when they're trying to set up for the opening to De La Cruz's performance. They're rehearsing. I like that Miguel gives them feedback and what can make their performance a little bit better. And obviously, it's functioning as setup for later. Um, but it kind of shows that Miguel has a feeling or a talent with the singing before we even hear him sing for the first time. So it's kind of setting it up, adding a little bit another layer that he understands, I guess, it on a different level than other people normally might.
No, it's very helpful to show into Miko's character that his musical awareness, I suppose.
Yeah. Uh, it's an amusing scene too, because the people who are rehearsing like they don't even question that he's there. Well, they question he's there for just a second, and then they just put him right to work as a someone who could give them an opinion.
I think that's just Frida's character.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Also, kind of find it amusing because the whole performance at the end is the Dela Cruz event. So in some way, he kind of stole from Miguel as well, using his music to the performance.
That's also very true.
It's pretty cool. Stealing from him and then trying to kill him.
It's setup, you see.
Yeah.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
You know, funny segue, something that's set up that isn't anything, I guess, other than a joke that I don't get. Why does Hector have a limp?
That is a good question. I have no idea. My You can walk with like a kick in your step, like you're listening to music, like you're funky walking. Uh, but he doesn't really do that.
No, they played out like Miguel's trying to blend in walking like him. And he goes, no, skeletons don't walk like that, which means Hector specifically walks like that, just him. And I went, okay, maybe they'll explain this later. They never do. So it was just a joke.
Well, he took his friend's femur, so maybe it's a different size.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
think he took the
that's
femur
a
for
fair
himself,
point.
but
He might have, and that would explain it.
Which is weird anyway, because don't the bones can reform themselves.
yeah, that's what happens when I forget his name, but like the uncle
Yeah,
that Miguel
the
bumps
bones
into.
function like the Iron Giant's broken limbs. Spoiler alert for the end of
Oh,
the
that.
movie.
Or
They all grow back together.
after Goddard plays dead.
Bark, bark. Yeah. So that would be my theory to the limp, is it's not his femur, and that would kind of tie into the other scene.
Interesting.
You
Okay.
know, I mean, if okay, that fixes the walk, but it introduces another problem. Is like, don't all the bones just return to your person?
Yeah, why is he
It
losing
does.
bones?
See,
Well, maybe
now
his
that
other one
see,
broke beyond repair or something. But it doesn't explain why the other guy didn't get his femur back if he wanted it. Like,
That's
just
true.
call it back.
Cheech could have just called back the femur.
maybe you have to want to reform your bones.
That's silly because
I
doesn't
agree.
Hector jumps off and like crumbles, leading
Yeah,
uh Miguel to like the slums area and just
yeah,
rebuilds
and then
himself.
it
So
just reforms. Yeah,
all I can really think of for the limp is that Hector looks more run down. I think he had like tape on his arm, like holding bones together or something. I think he's breaking, and that could explain more into the limp. That his bones are just more run down.
That's possible. I mean, he does a lot with his bones that you don't really see the other people do.
Like when he's dancing, he's doing full on like he's twisting his whole bone structure
Yeah,
around
he
for fun.
takes his torso off and puts his head on his spine.
Yeah, and he rips off his arm and he throws it to knock on a window. He's very active with his own dismemberment.
Yeah. How did you two feel about the nude skeleton?
I thought it was amusing.
I'm not remembering it. What scene had a naked
Oh,
skeleton?
when Miguel is trying to catch Dante in Frida's workshop and comes across a naked skeleton being sketched.
All right, well, I somehow managed to not see that.
Oh, I thought that
Alright.
was a pretty good joke.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good joke
Um,
too. It's she has very excellent bone structure. Hence,
Nice.
that would be the joke you make. But yeah, I think it works. I found it funny. Um, I do. We get also a semblance towards the end of that scene that Hector is known as the guy who died to eating chorizo. Chorizo's pretty spicy, so honestly, it's a hell of a way to go. But it's still funny that he's kind of like the lower end of the social hierarchy because of that.
Yeah, the rumor going around that he died from choking on chorizo and he thinks it was food poisoning. It is great to just the belief of how he thinks he died since he wasn't aware, like he just, felt a pain in his gut, fell over and woke up dead.
He didn't assume Cruz like
No.
poisoned him yet.
No, it makes sense being
Uh,
down in the slums that he never saw that movie or a connection to the scene.
yeah. Though again, it's interesting why he never tried to see Cruz once he heard he passed, because they were friends.
Yeah, that should have been something.
That's true. I would have liked to have seen something on that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it so that De La Cruz literally doesn't recognize him. Like he's so removed now from that part of his life that he just doesn't bother remembering that.
And you could have
But
Hector
that would be something that I would like to
saying
be shown, I guess.
that Hector saying he tried to get to Dela Cruz, but his security was too hard for him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, security never let him pass the gate.
True, but if he could disguise himself as Frida, he could try to do that again.
All of that gets into its own thing of that. But on the topic of Frida, do you think Dela Cruz, for his big, like, I guess, annual performance, would be um, started with someone that's just me instead of him? He seems very egotistical to
I
where everything would revolve
I
around
I
him.
think I think that's how the two of them can relate.
You also have to remember he doesn't show up to rehearsals, so he doesn't even know what they're planning.
And Frida could be older than Dela Cruz and have been here first.
Possibly, yeah. But yeah, I guess he might not even know what the performance is about, so that's true.
I do.
Well, it does say he never comes to rehearsals.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, a little brief bit that I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit since we kind of talked in the slums a little bit. I want to jump to that. One of my favorite, like, I guess, pointed shots of the film is just the empty shot glass next to the full one. Um, and it's just another thing that's very very culturally appropriate for me, and for what I'm my experiences and stuff like that. Ooh, words not can I? Where when you're leaving offerings to your ancestors, you tend to also leave your empty glasses with your offerings for just to kind of symbolize that you were drinking with them for the rest of the day, usually.
Okay, that's neat.
Yeah.
I like that Cheech's passing is, a serious scene to explain what final death is and what occurs being forgotten, and it doesn't get played into a joke that skeletons drinking. It's not like Curse of the Black Pearl and like the liquid just falls out of them kind of thing. Like he actually
Yeah.
ingested the drink, which then helps that the offerings that are given to anyone who has passed can be consumed like actual food.
Yep.
That is a problem I did write down is they can consume stuff yet cannot use the restroom. Like where does the consumption go?
Turns into a
Magic.
spiritual pixie
I don't know.
dust. No idea.
Turns to ash in our
But yes,
mouths.
yeah, I do agree that it's a very good idea they kept that scene serious, especially since that's going to be the stakes for Hector later on in the film. Um, and I do like that even though it is a serious scene, they still have a little bit of humor there because Hector is censoring the song because Miguel is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what it was.
Oh,
The
I have a
lyrics.
good guess.
I also have a good guess. Um, and I also enjoy that this was how we find out as an audience that Hector is a musician.
Yeah.
He doesn't play anymore, but he's willing to give his play one more song to give his friend to send his friend off with a final rest. It speaks to who Hector is a little bit as well.
Is it convenient that the guy disappeared at this moment?
Just appeared?
Disappeared.
Oh, disappeared.
Got
Yeah.
forgotten that
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like it's something that Hector would know about, and that's might be why he comes back to visit him frequently, because he knows that he's going to eventually disappear. But it is convenient that it happens here in this moment, I guess, in the grand scheme of the story.
I have I guess, a wild curiosity, and it could be seen by either both of you saying, "Yeah, I didn't see that at all." Hector coming across the three ladies around the table playing cards and drinking in, the forgotten slums, the no offenda slums or whatever. Are they to represent like prostitutes?
Maybe it's certainly possible.
I can read into it that way. I don't know definitively if that's the intent, but that is something you could see around slums, so that might be them trying to portray that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's an inaccurate reading. I could read into that for them as well.
Is that something you're thinking they are?
I'm like 60% thinking they are. Like they could just be like three ladies who are just there hanging out, but it was only ladies, quote unquote, on the corner of a road ish, being slightly flirtatious with their wording towards Hector. So it made me like lean, is that what they're portraying here?
Certainly
So,
possible.
and after coming from a nude skeleton, I could see it. I'm like, for them to go this way.
Another one of those things that might be for the adult members of the
Yeah,
audience.
could be an adult joke. I think something I can pitch now, maybe. I mean, we've been jumping around, but a praise I give this movie, and I think I brought this up when we did the Pixar tier list, um, of this movie comparatively to like other more modern aged Pixar movies, is that this movie actually has a villain with actual like evil intent and not just someone being a bully.
Or just a concept being the bad guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I wholeheartedly agree, especially with the switch that happens.
yeah.
Like
So,
Miguel is uncomfortable
oh,
after
yeah. And
between what happens to you and Hector, and you can see De La Cruz
yeah,
still standing there.
essentially, De La Cruz saying like he's gonna extend his visit after Miguel showed him like his torso, saying I don't have much time, and he goes, oh okay, understood. That just translates to De La Cruz saying, okay, I'm gonna kill you.
Yep. Like, hey, I thought for a moment ago I thought I was related to a murderer. You're an upgrade. One of the funnier lines for me.
Do you think Miguel's body would have been transported to the crypt, or he would have just disappeared?
Ooh.
I have no idea. He might have just gone missing and stayed dead.
I think he would have. I think he would have gone missing. I don't think his physical body would have been sent back.
Because we know that when they came to when they thought the shrine was broken into, there were people that went in there to see him, and there was no body there. It was just he had crossed over.
Yeah, this isn't a Doctor Strange astral projection thing.
Yeah.
So where do you think Crimson?
I'm going to go. He would just disappear.
Like disappear
how the animals
in the real world, or would he actually be like a dead skeleton in the afterlife?
Oh, I'd still say he'd be a skeleton in the afterlife. Just in the real world, he would have just poofed out of existence.
Okay, just quote unquote missing kid.
Because he's still remembered and stuff, and if he's missing and they presume he's dead, they'd add him to the shrine, and he would just be on the same path everyone else is.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I will jump to the ceremony or the ceremony, the competition. I really quite like the dynamic between Hector and Miguel before they go on. Everyone's gonna sing "Remember Me" to try and get in, and the two people who did a really good the two people who passed are the ones playing like not "Remember Me," like they're the ones who did different music.
Yeah.
The orchestra, or band, whatever.
I think but to feed a little bit more into the hey, as a musician to a musician excuse to have the band sneak him into the party. I think the only thing I would want to change is have a shot of the band that just went up before Hector and Miguel, have them like react to the song that he's singing and playing. So get a shot of them enjoying his music. So that way it comes across as less forced, I want to say. Because it still works, but I think it needs to be smoothed over.
I can agree with that change. Just
sure. Yeah.
It's more padding to make it flow more.
I would say I do really like the energy the guy gives off listening to the nuns play the accordion.
It's just the one guy enjoying it.
Yeah, I like that one guy.
That would have been Crimson if it was
bagpipes.
Bagpipes. Just the one guy in the crowd.
I think Crimson would have felt that way. I can't see Crimson doing that though. Of a crowd of no one doing nothing.
To stand out at all.
Yeah.
No. On I guess the topic of the sneaking in and asking to go in, I would prefer if they snuck him in the drums and not in the trombone.
I agree.
Because then it kind of turns this into more of a cartoon where he can just fit into objects he shouldn't be able to fit in.
Not saying that the undead physics can't work differently, but we have no reason to believe it.
Would. Well, he's not dead here.
Yeah, still. I thought you were going to say not to say this isn't a cartoon.
No, they're still bound by physical properties.
Physics seems to operate
trombone
normally.
Is like Looney Tunes level, which this movie is not Looney Tunes.
No.
Yeah, I agree with that. When I first watched the movie, I remember I thought they had snuck him in the drums, and then I saw him in the tube. I'm like, that works. It's just a little weird.
Well, he would have to have been visible through the hole, because he's not in the neck of the darn thing.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, I had another. I guess I just thought of this right now. One of the things that they could have done is that maybe Miguel was going to win the competition, but because he wasn't around when they announced the winner, they ended up giving it to the Macharachi band, and that's why they also brought him along. Because
I can believe
they
that.
now get to go in. Yeah, so they now get to go in because Miguel didn't accept the reward. And then when they catch up to him and he's asking for a favor, like, yeah, of course you can come in. You're we loved your music, dude. You're the reason we can go just because you weren't there.
If
So I
they had a
can,
lot of, hey man, thanks for quitting so we could get up here, or something like that. I think would be nice too.
yeah, just something just again smooth it over because like I said, I like it because artists supporting other artists, Crimson, I just really love it. One of my favorite things in life as an artist. So I think it works. I just want to add a little bit more padding in the terms of sense for the audience on the objective region. Spriggs point.
Um, I have a nitpick that during the presentation of Poco Loco, with the family being around asking everyone, "Have you seen a live boy?" None of them look at the main presenter on stage.
None of them look on stage. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
I guess. I mean, they could be tunnel vision because I doubt they would expect him to be on stage.
That's why I
Like
have
the
it as
odds
a
of one
nitpick.
of them,
Hold
yeah,
on,
the odds of one of them
actually,
not making it.
they haven't seen him in the skeleton makeup yet, have they?
No.
No,
That moves me to less of a problem and more of a nitpick. Yeah. So it's an issue that they don't take a closer look, but I think they overlook him because he's a skeleton, and I don't think they've heard him sing. So
I
there's a couple
I
factors
think at
working for
first
him here.
glance, yes, but they know the outfit he's in and it's the same clothes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a nitpick that they identify his shoe print? I I like that it shows that they're all very knowledgeable about the shoes, but anyone could be wearing these shoes. They specify it's a size 7 because it's been what, like 90 years is our estimate of the business working of them making shoes for people. It's not like he's got a unique shoe.
Yes, but prior to that, Pepita gets a scent of him and is tracking a scent and not footprints. The scent leads to the footprints.
That's fine, which to me makes the whole them identifying the footprints superfluous because we already know it's his that and they know it is because the tracker says it is. So it's kind of just like throwing it in just to show that their expertise, but in reality, that's unnecessary.
It'd be more comical if like one of them like licked the ground and just broke down the leathers from here. They just started go listing off like Sherlock, just with the shoes would be kind of funny.
Shoot,
It's an
what
Imelda
is that?
classic.
Oh, what's his name? I always forget his name. The dog from Aristocats who listens to Edgar sneak up and like describes his shoes.
I've never seen Aristocats.
Oh,
I Oh, for some reason you triggered a memory for me with 101 101 Dalmatians, and I don't think there's a shoe describing scene there.
I don't think in 101 Dalmatians, no.
No, but yeah, I know what you're talking about in Aristocats. Yeah, good stuff. Uh, whose point was that? That
That was me.
was
I,
that was you.
I brought up the
So
shoe thing.
yeah,
So you,
Crimson,
writer.
you go.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, it is me. Okay. Um, I I guess I'll admit it. I do like Esmeralda tries to calm Miguel down by singing, like to show that she was a part of the world a little bit, and it does get him to stop. So I think that's a nice little bit of a reveal for Esmeralda. Like it's still a holdover from her time with Hector, I guess.
Yes, I think that was a quick way to get Miguel to stop to listen to her.
Yes, I do like that Miguel commits to wanted to get a blessing anyway. But um, I think it's just a nice little touch that kind of unite. They're more similar than they are different, except he's more passionate to chase his dream.
Is it a little dumb though on Imelda that when they're in the office earlier and they explain how to get Miguel back, you need a blessing from family, and Miguel's answer to Imelda the whole time is, "I need to go see Ernesto de la Cruz for his blessing," and she's
Because
not
he doesn't
saying
want.
he's not family.
Yes,
Yes, that is a problem.
I didn't think about that, but that is she would shut that down.
She is allowing him to go, knowing that it won't work, without telling him.
That's I don't I feel like that's like the writer's error
I'm like,
and not on the character's choice.
that's to show that Imelda doesn't know who's the father of Coco. Unless that's what they're playing.
That would be interesting. I would definitely want more evidence, I guess, of that specifically. That she wasn't entirely sure who's Coco's father is.
That could help explain her offstandishness for years in the afterlife to Hector.
It kind of touches on a point I was going to bring up of Hector's side of the family. How he's forgotten from both sides of the family, because the Shoe family, that's the Imelda's family, but where's Hector's family?
Hector had no
They
family.
all
They all
forgot he
died.
existed.
They were all dead before he was. Yeah, he was the last
And
living heir.
all of his
He was
classmates
the
forgot
last
he
of his line.
existed.
Yeah.
It's something I feel like they needed to address, because he should have his side of the family, but they never address it.
No. Best I have is that they're all dead. That's why Coco's the only person keeping him alive.
Yeah, that's for
And
me
I
is just
think it's big.
yeah, it's a big thing. I would say it's definitely it's not a character issue, but it's definitely a plot to world building issue because they are trying to hmm.
They don't think it's
I was
important
just
to the
trying to
story.
they don't think it's important to the story, but because we're asking so many questions, it kind of highlights its necessity, or at least a mention in the story. Because his family might not be important, but a reference to like maybe he was
Why
a
they
runaway,
don't have a thing. Yeah.
or yeah, maybe he was a runaway. Maybe there could be a lot of things that happened. Maybe they all died in the Great War. Because World
Well,
War One happened before, they opened the shoe shop up. But
yeah, he could just be an orphan. It's just the whole point is no one remembers or honors him, and half his family lineage is ignored for it, and I feel like it's a pretty important thing to at least address. Like, yeah, they're all gone, or I was adopted and no one would know of me. So when I found your great grandmother, it changed my life. Something, but just flat out ignoring half the family for something that's so important to the plot, I feel like is an oversight.
yeah, it is. I would definitely lean toward being an oversight because this. I think you could just drop in a throwaway line to fix that. Like maybe his other family didn't like music either, so that's why they don't they didn't support him and chose not to remember him. But again, we don't really get anything.
Maybe.
I will jump to the party. We see the pool that he falls in, but they definitely edit the pool to be a lot smaller when he's starry-eyed looking at Dela Cruz and doesn't see the pool at all in front of him that he just walks into and falls in.
And I don't know why. I mean, it's a little convenient. Dela Cruz is the only one, but that doesn't matter to me all that much. It's why he looked panicked when someone fell in the water when they're skeletons. what's the deal? They're not gonna drown.
To make himself look like a hero.
I guess,
Yeah.
but it's just well.
For me, that's my I guess reinterpretation of that panic. He's trying to maintain his image.
Yeah, someone just stole the spotlight on his party, so he's getting it back. Maybe.
Maybe. Springs.
Yes, about the party at 5820 when Miguel's going up the stairs after coming out of the lift. I did notice that the camera for the shot is more of a dynamic mimicry of handheld, and it has a lot more bounce to it. I thought that was very interesting.
For which shot?
When Miguel's coming up the stairs and pausing at the top of the stairs, and it pans over to show a man like breathing petal butterfly fire or something, and then back to Miguel, and then the shot ends to cut to seeing Ernesto like go through the front doors.
Okay, yeah, I could picture the firefly part or butterfly
Yeah.
thing.
I think the bounciness of the shot is to indicate the I guess the
Excitement.
party. It's the life of the party. Yeah. I think that's what it's the purpose of it. Yes.
To me, it just stood out. So
Makes sense for it standing out. Does it stand out to you in a good way or a bad way? Or
I'd
just
say
stands out as something different?
I'd say a good way. Focused on Miguel and how he's this close to getting to his goal of what he's wanted to get to this whole time. So the camera's more of that shake adrenaline look to feel of what the character's emotions are being this close.
Yeah. And obviously they're showing off just all the colorful animation of being at the party too. So I think that it works.
Yeah. I don't know if
Um,
you two caught it. I thought it was pretty apparent of Ernesto and kind of during the little montage of Ernesto de la Cruz and Miguel going around, and de la Cruz is like, I have a great great grandson, like over and over, and then they're watching a scene from the movie of the poison scene, and they're like quoting the whole thing and hanging out, and then Ernesto leans over and says, I do all my own stunts after showing the scene of poisoning the guy.
That's funny. I didn't
yeah,
pick up on that. That's pretty funny.
that's definitely a wink, wink, nudge, nudge right now.
Yeah, I went, that was pretty good. That was a good line.
It is. I think it's an extremely well timed line too, because I think that could work with anything, but the fact that they chose to do it to that scene is definitely adding a nice little
It adds a nugget
sprinkles onto that line.
of his evilness because he's fine getting away with it and no one's going to stop him. So using it as a joke is comfortable to him. Also to show that scene to it be referenced later for Miguel to show it to Hector, so it's not an out of the blue scene just randomly from a movie. It's already
What an
prioritized.
ego you have to put your murder of someone to film.
Well, it's a cover up.
Yeah.
As Ernesto says later, it's just like you're blending film and reality, which I could guess he said to maybe speculators. I don't know if anyone speculated about Hector's death, but
I also don't think the speculation you're saying is for the afterlife, because I don't think in the real world anyone would be like, "Did you kill Hector?" And
well,
he's like,
no, I mean like
"No, you're confusing it with the movie."
I'm like the police case of Hector, and it's like how would he die, and autopsy of like a poison, and Ernesto was the last to see of him, like how that all went about.
Well, I mean, they might not have found the body. To be fair,
Ooh, that's also true. Maybe there was no body. Good point.
Ooh, dark. Um, yeah, I'll kind of in the montage. I do like that they're another little nugget onto the scene. The line of dialogue is really good. I like the visual of them both going through the you know they both have their fists up, their fisticuffs, like they're both acting it out together.
Yeah, that they both seen this movie multiple times.
I'm such a fan of your films.
There it is again.
bring that back. Is that going to be a constant podcast now?
Could be.
It might be.
It's
Yeah.
right up there with Weak Sauce. And the bad guys of World War II.
Yeah, they show up everywhere.
Uh,
So, can I go?
Yeah.
All right, I'll jump back to the performance, I guess, where Miguel argues with Hector about lying and stuff about the family. And I referenced earlier where Miguel is like super rude or just did something I didn't like, and this was it of him knowingly killing Hector.
By
This is
not
when he
taking the
throws
photo?
out. No, by getting rid of it. He had the photo already, but then he threw it, and then Hector had to chase it down. He knows that at this point in the movie the ramifications of that action. So that bugged me a lot. It gets more. It's beyond just emotions in the moment and stubbornness. It's evil. Evil's a bit much, but it's a lot.
Yeah. I think my best defense for it is like he's still a kid trying to rationalize everything. And even if he does understand the gravity of the situation, it might not be that he can fully rationalize what's going on. But
Because this is
he doesn't.
after seeing Cheech die.
Yeah, he knows the effects of this.
Yes, he does.
But then again, is Hector really Miguel's friend for constantly lying to him about things?
And they had a pretty solid dynamic up to this one point. And even if they weren't friends, I feel like it's a pretty easy thing just to keep a photo on you for even if it's for someone you don't like all that much. To me, crossing the line of he's just willing to let him die, saying killing him might be too much of a stretch, but
yeah, I think
like
willing to let him die. It's not that. Again, he can't really rationalize it, but at this point, he feels betrayed because Hector was going to drag him back to his family. So, throwing the picture does two things. Obviously, Hector's going to chase that because it's his only lifeline. And then there's also that fact that he feels betrayed and wants to get rid of it. So I do think there's plenty of emotions to kind of explain this away.
Alright, makes similar sentiment.
Yeah, about same.
I would agree that he probably doesn't. He didn't think about the consequences of actions fully. Though I wish I got a bit of acknowledgement of it at some point. Is probably what I would say to it. But otherwise, I do think it functions fine.
Yeah, I would like it if he had some form of regret later, like when they're in the hole.
Yeah.
He's like, "Sorry, I didn't think about what I did back there." Something, I don't know, some acknowledgement because it's pretty heinous what he did.
Yeah. Yes. Once things calms down, I think that would be the fix. That would be what I would want is that apology in the hole, I guess. As we're gonna call it. Well, actually, since we're on the hole, I've got a lighting issue for once.
Oh, fancy.
Why is it sunny?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's illuminated by the party.
It's definitely not illuminated by the party. It's like it's sunny in the hole. Because if it was illuminated by the party, the lights would be like dancing.
No,
like because fireworks and everything like that.
When they get to the top, and it shows like the mansion, there's a dome that is over like the whole top of that pillar that they rode up to. I think that's the light that's being emitted down.
I don't think they do a good job then because the way it is lit looks like daylight. And
yeah, they never really have a good shot of the outside of the tower to show that dome.
Yeah, I would say that's poorly communicated. Then it's still a problem, or if it's a lighting problem for me, I guess.
I can go
The
with I
only,
think it's too bright, but it
especially
would
for the
explain the
angle it's
lighting.
at,
Yeah.
because it looks like it's a top-down light. It's not like coming in from the sides. I think
Yeah.
is the biggest thing with it.
Artificial
Um,
sky.
and the what only lighting note I had in mind was when Miguel went and stole the guitar. The angle of the moonlight going through the window isn't where the moon was in relation to where the crypt was.
I agree.
Interesting. It's very neat that the two of you are bringing up a lighting issue. Because for me, I think the biggest objective praise I have on this movie is its lighting.
Well, nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect. Like I said, those are the only two lighting moments that maybe it's because the problems stand out to me. The lighting problems stood out to me a little bit more here. It's because you're right. Everywhere else, I don't really have an issue, Springs. I love the lighting in the film. I think it's very, very colorful, and it looks. It's a very imaginative, beautiful reimagining of the world of the dead, the land of the dead, and I would even say in the real world when celebrating Dia de los Muertos. Very, I love the lighting too. So that might be why it stands out to me, just because it was such a departure.
And even the like cat, its paws emit light from the fur onto the ground. It's very faint, but
Yeah.
it's present, and that's a nice detail. And I just like how the footprints look when it breathes on it. That looks cool.
To jump back to the party, I very much like once the party is settling down and the De La Cruz and he gets to tell, or Miguel gets to tell De La Cruz like the reason why he came to him to get his blessing, because he still thinks De La Cruz is family.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain just short circuited. Uh, the yeah, it's I really like the scene on the surface level. What I quite like it shows that they've bonded, but as I've explained earlier, it's a lot of it's very very Cruz centric. So he's still viewing this as him doing something good to keep his reputation alive. Uh, and obviously it's interrupted by Hector, but I think
Yeah.
they do enough of a good job to hide the twist that's coming. Um, and then it still pushes the story forward, and it shows us they've bonded, which I think is the important part. So that way, with the betrayal, it hits a little bit harder.
Yes. Something Pixar's great with is audience emotions.
Yes, not quite the level of Hans from Frozen, but the betrayal is still real.
That better be a
Yes,
sarcastic joke there.
I haven't seen Frozen. Sarcasm.
Wait, right? You think Hans is better?
No, I mean the execution of the twist is better. Not that he's a better character.
Interesting.
Yeah, Hans is straight out of Game of Thrones. in a Disney movie, which is what makes him such a, I guess a beloved villain or a hated villain.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to counter.
Well, no, we're not
I know
covering
what
Frozen,
that's
but
right.
I don't agree. So.
Yeah, I can tell. That's what I'm saying. You can offer as to why, because we are talking about De La Cruz.
To me, Ernesto de la Cruz has a lot of build up and connection to a lot of characters. Hans has nothing. Hans has, yes, a twist, but as soon as it's explained, it's just out of the blue. It's completely just like a pivot.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I think you misunderstand me. I think the writing for De La Cruz is much better because it has all the supporting elements. I think just in the moment, if you're isolating the scene of the twist, I do think Hans is a little bit better. without all the supporting elements that go in. Does that make better sense?
Yes, that makes better sense. I would still disagree. I think Ernesto is better because of the Hector. Where you
Yeah.
could
So,
say
but
And I
then
Hans and
mean,
Anna,
Coco,
but
yeah, the Hans relies on the more of the Disney playing on its own tropes. So I guess it does. I would say that does rely a lot more on meta, like the whole, uh, true love's kiss will save the day.
yes.
can I make a
Uh,
point?
yeah,
All right. So it seems to me that it's established that you cross the Petal Bridge to the other world, and you can grab stuff that has been set at your altar and check it in. And that brings up to me the question: does De La Cruz go to all the altars he's at?
he has people for that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I think he has people for that. I think he
I
has
don't know how that
people.
works though.
I think he has people who have offendas and they don't go visit their family. They go get stuff for De La Cruz.
See, and that's something I feel like needs to be hinted at or something, or if they have a mailing system. I don't know.
Yeah, all you have to do is just when they're walking through that hall of all the donations, he's like, "Yeah, I have to send my staff out on like
Yeah,
really weird rotations because they also have to visit their offenders, but they need to help me with
because to
mine."
me, De La Cruz has never left.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But bring up the question in the first place.
Or it could also go into people go to their own offendas, come back with those items to then give to De La Cruz.
Maybe like they knew, like say uh their their dead son who might have died in a war or whatever was a huge fan of De La Cruz, so they leave him some offerings.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean like people go to their offendas and like the meals their families made them. Like they take that like the bread and wine or whatever and then go over and when they check in, they go to the party and give it to De La Cruz.
Maybe I could see that.
So, which kind of in a way would show that De La Cruz is stealing from other families.
Would be an interesting angle to approach. But as is, they don't really give hints
No,
to
they,
how he's procuring his fan mail, essentially.
I do
Uh,
think a I guess slight build into twist. It's not fully a twist, but just the understanding that Hector is on a double-edged sword, unable to see his daughter in either case, is quite touching. That he can't cross over without being remembered or on an offenda, but then the point of when Coco dies and can't remember, Hector will be forgotten and can't see her.
Yes, I think that was a very good move on their part to double screw Hector, because it really makes it all on Miguel's shoulders for this success. If he fails, then yeah, that inevitability of nothing comes.
Yeah. No, I'll save it. It's not exactly. It's too far in the linear. Too far to popcorn too.
All right. I mean, we already talked about the grandma dying before.
I don't.
I guess
Like I said,
that's you know what I guess
it
that's
is popcorn,
true.
man. Just
Uh,
go for it. Commit, sir.
I wish they showed a way of Miguel knowing that Hector lived because he
How would
doesn't
you have
know.
that portrayed?
I don't send something to Dante.
Do you think it's stronger that he doesn't know? I kind of feel like it's stronger that he doesn't know, and it's more meaningful that way.
It,
Since he's a part of the offenda, and he now, I think for me, he does know that Hector is okay. Like he believes it hard enough that he knows it because he was there. Like to know that Hector is on the offenda while he's the one giving the lecture to his younger sister, not abuela. I think that's for me that was enough.
The Hector could
I
have disappeared by the time he played the music.
yeah, I I can see it as a belief or a false promise trust to think that he's still there without actually knowing if he is, because the photos won't disappear when the dead skeleton dies or Hector passes away. The photos won't disappear, but having more people remember him isn't going to bring him back. So there was more of like Miguel actually knowing that he got to Coco in time for Hector to stay alive.
Yeah. I mean, Hector impresses upon him the point though that Coco is forgetting me.
Yeah, and
Like that's a point that's impressed upon him.
the last thing that Miguel has seen, he's seen Cheech and how fast Cheech being forgotten died, and he's over Hector who's on the ground blinking out of existence for him to go to Coco. There's a likelihood that he did not get to Coco in time, and he does not know that.
He is. Well, I guess I have no idea, but like you're right. Hector probably disappeared. My best guess is once he got Coco to remember, he poofed back into existence.
Oh, that's not what I mean.
Well, Hector said that's not possible.
Yeah, I don't think Hector died. I don't think Hector had his final death. That's not what I'm getting at. I think Miguel did get in time because that's why Hector's at the very end and all of them are like dancing around and everything. Hector did survive and never vanished, but Miguel doesn't know that. And that's where I have my, like, I guess, self nitpick on it.
Like subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think Miguel's riding on hope because I don't think there's any hints. I personally prefer that he doesn't know a definitive answer, and I guess that's my piece on it.
Yeah, I think it works. I mean, I think you could make the one where he knows work via something, but I think it's enough that he has the faith that Hector survived. Because even if he in reality doesn't know, the fact that he's a part of the offender from then on, I think is enough.
I'm so glad that they didn't have the ghosts be able to interact with anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy.
Oh
that
yeah,
was my worry, that they would have someone like Hector nudge the photo or something, and like, oh, it moved. And like, well, that ruined everything.
Would
So
you
I'm
have
glad they
liked?
never crossed that line.
What if like Dante barked and like went around, or Dante did something to like show us silhouette or something of a ghost?
Showing,
Not
no,
like
but
physically,
barking acknowledgement, I'm fine with that.
like Miguel would
like
look
he was
like he's
looking
looking
at an
through the
empty
ghost,
spot.
but like Miguel knows they're there, kind of thing.
Yeah, like have Dante sit like in a corner, like looking at an empty wall, and that would be enough to know that at least for Miguel to know that maybe Hector is chilling next to the wall or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Funny enough,
more fine with me. That's not the
yeah,
ghosts interacting; it's the spirit guide interacting.
yeah, I would agree with that. What do we think of the reveal of that Hector and Miguel are related?
I think it's fine. I wish it was a little more
A little more, little
celebratory.
longer, celebratory. Yeah, they both just shout in the hole like, "I'm happy to be his,"
Yeah, they both
you know.
a greedo, I think is what they called it, which is the like
Yeah,
celebrational yelling.
yeah. And then the reality sinks in that they're both get stuck there and might die. But I appreciate the fact that they try to celebrate the moment.
Do you? Well, Yeah, never mind. It jumps tangents. This one, I can agree. I think a little bit more would be good, especially through Hector, who all this time has believed no one's thought of him or cared about him, um, and Coco just barely, from what he can tell. Um, she never even bothered to put his photo up. According to him, he doesn't know her situation. Um, so I think his reaction should be a bit more on the acknowledgement. Um, Miguel, I think he's okay enough. I think for me.
Yeah, I'm fine with Miguel's reaction, mostly because Hector is the singer songwriter, so he knows where he got it from, like the real source. Then he's probably relieved now that it's not De La Cruz.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, Sprinks. Point add on.
Yeah, the security at the festival or the big like sunrise show kind of stinks,
Oh yeah,
especially since one of the
Kinda.
twin cousins who is unarmed takes out a security guard.
Well, yeah, and they can't even catch one old lady.
No,
yeah. The
it was. I feel
the
like it's comes across as depowering or power scaling down or something. Where earlier guards were able to take Hector and Miguel, but now it's like
yeah,
they're jokes.
family together strong. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they did turn them
What
into
is it?
jokes.
What is it they say in Fast and Furious? Family.
I think it's just
Family.
family. But I thought you were doing like
Yeah,
apes together strong.
yeah. That's that. I was also referring to that too, or a paraphrase of that. Yeah, I would say the guards were definitely descaled. They also the I don't know the reference, but the the scene with all of them trying to grab her while she's singing, Esmeralda while she's singing, is a reference to a musical or a play of some kind, and I don't remember which one. It's just very striking imagery that I
It
know I've seen before in a
is.
play or a musical.
Couldn't help you.
No, it
Yeah,
is.
I know. Yeah,
Oh. Well, I hope.
I mean,
Hopefully, it's not reminding you of Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again when they're in drag and everyone who wants to kill him is in that room
no, God no, no. I mean like the specific visual of like the woman dancing and singing alone, but being
and
bounced
avoiding and
between.
dancing around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very striking, and I don't remember where I've seen it before, but I know I have seen it before.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn
Uh.
in the Suicide Squad.
Nope, probably not. After this recording, I will reach out to the musical expert that I know of Hummer, and see what her answer is.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. I do like Hector and Esmeralda still being at odds, and Miguel is the one that kind of explains the situation. So, like again, it's just the how much I like the single shot of the dad about to like just before Abuela smashes the guitar. That Miguel made. You get that shot of him like reacting to realize what's about to happen. I like the shot of Esmeralda reacting to Miguel telling the story of like, no, Hector's been the one that's been trying to tell me that family is what matters and has been pushing me, telling me to go back to you guys. Kind of showing that Hector, well, it kind of showing to her that her perception of Hector was wrong.
Yeah,
And
and
she's
I'm
a
glad.
little less angry at that after that.
Yeah, and I'm glad she doesn't just immediately accept him. She still says, "I don't forgive you" or anything. Obviously, later she does flip, but
Yeah.
the initial confrontation, I'm glad wasn't resolved.
Yeah. She's still very angry and just it just lets it slip out later on, but
Made it more
um,
human.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of pain there that should not have been resolved in one scene. and then obviously Hector playing music for her when she goes out to sing.
Oh, that was
I
good.
think that's fantastic. So it's a little more onto their relationship too, as to why they connect a little bit right afterwards.
Yeah. Then again, Imelda could have gotten off of that rising platform. She decided to stay on it.
Oh yeah, she just stood there looking nervous, like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" Jump off.
Yeah, you can break into a pile of bones and build yourself up. Height shouldn't be fearful for them.
That's very true.
I don't know. We don't see her play with the bones. I mean, she could have thrown her arm through the gate when Miguel was running away.
She could have.
Well, that's what Hector would have done probably.
What do we This is an interesting question. Would De La Cruz leave the crowd in his performance to go essentially make sure Hector dies?
For a break,
Like,
yeah.
would he?
After a musical number like changing out.
Then
can
I
buy
have
it.
an issue. Then I have an issue if you said that if that's right, Springs. I have an issue he doesn't get to them immediately.
No, he could still
And it's
be.
also
The perspective
also
goes
sorry.
onto Hector, Imelda, and Miguel, and talking about them. And I think Ernesto's still working to the crowd and probably explaining to, hey, sorry about, we don't hear any of it because our perspective is on the other people, which is why the jump of Ernesto grabbing Miguel is so shocking. I think that's him more working to the crowd of sorry for the, mishap. We're going to get it sorted kind of thing. And then coming back to immediately get Miguel. I think that's why there's a pause there.
Hope you
Okay.
all like the surprise guest of who knows who.
Yeah, he tried his best to work with it
Okay.
to keep
Yeah,
his
because I don't
image.
have any issues. I was 50-50 on it. I just wanted to vibe check. I'm okay with it not being an issue.
Yeah. My questionable issue is Melda has a microphone to sing into to project and sing with, and then, Hector gets a microphone so his guitar goes through. She loses her microphone and her and Ernesto are quote unquote duetting and sound the exact same.
Yeah, I had that written down as well. She like hands it off to a security guard, and he like freaks out that he has it or something.
Yeah, but their singing doesn't change
Yeah,
volume
I
wise.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's a problem. Uh, I do like that it seems as if Esmeralda is about to add the same condition, but it's just that I want you to remember your family was always love you, and it's a very sweet moment.
I think it's because of Hector.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
I would agree with that.
I do. Oh, what was the bit? Is it an issue as well that the family decide to do this still so close to Ernesto Cruz? Like they don't run away first or try to?
No, it's getting close to sunset, and
Yeah,
why
I don't
waste the
think they have
time?
time.
Okay. I just
And they
want.
already know they can
I
outbeat the
that would
security.
be yeah, that would be that would be my excuse for it as well, or that the time is running out. But I feel like they should have still tried to leave and then, then realize that time was up. But that changes the scene obviously because they wouldn't have the fake out before Cruz tries to capture him, which is to raise the tension. So I think it works.
I'd prefer if they went quicker instead of the pausing for the dramatic and caring. The family cares about you, whatever.
Know your
Uh,
family loves you.
yeah, because it's more dramatic, eats up more time, gave Dela Cruz time to find them.
Yeah, it works, but maybe a nick, but not a huge wound. So I think it still works.
Still works
All
for
right.
me.
Can can I move on to a different topic?
Of course.
All right. So I'm curious if you guys think they did a good enough job ignoring the fact that Miguel never died. He's just in the world of the living. And brushing off the fact that him remembering Hector is not enough.
Well, he never met Hector in life,
We
right?
don't know that.
That, yeah. Wait, hold
Huh?
on.
Crimson, we don't know that, which went into my question earlier that Miguel doesn't know that Hector survived. But that is a good point to make.
I'm confused on.
Are you saying
I don't know what.
when Miguel went back to the land of the living that Hector still, like, that his memory of Hector isn't keeping him alive?
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay, that easily could be that Miguel knowing Hector, trying to rush to Coco because Coco's quote unquote the only one who knows. I think Miguel, in being alive, knowing Hector, has possibly already saved him.
I guess the only thing countering that is what Hector's told him in front of the one guy that did fade, saying that it has to be someone seeing you once you were alive to remember you.
Oh, well, then that would counter that. That would have
Is
to be
that a
Coco.
line that it said?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. Oh yeah, because Miguel says, "I'll remember you," and he does counter with that. Yeah.
Never mind then.
And the base of the question is that good enough or is it weak based off of the rules? Because I find that very weak.
It's difficult because Miguel didn't have time to check if that would work. Because she died in like the next 2.5 minutes.
The reason I say it's weak is because people are still remembered even if the people that remembered them are dead. So why does a living person in this instance not count? Remembering someone that's dead.
Yeah, well, I said counter to all of it because it was said. Hector's lied a lot. How does Hector know that?
Well, I'm not.
Maybe
I wouldn't say he'd lie, but he might not
He
know.
might
I
not
mean,
fully know it.
this is the first example of living
Yeah.
person in the afterlife.
No,
Uh,
I do really like the idea that Miguel being alive is the memory keeping Hector being fine now. Before even getting to Mama Coco.
I think that does undercut the payoff of
It
the song,
does.
though.
It does, but
it would make
it's
more
not the
sense.
focus point of the scene or the panic.
We don't really know what saved her, so it could have been Miguel's memory, despite what was said earlier.
Saved her. Saved who?
I mean Hector.
Oh, saved. Gotcha.
If I'm still on the same page with you guys.
Yeah, you said saved her, and I didn't know who you were referring
Oh,
to.
my bad. Yeah.
But yes. Again, for all that, I just wish Miguel would know that it worked.
I guess my point on it is I think they did a bad job patching, because they put in the line and that technically covers the base, but the problem is it's incongruent with the other rule of you don't need a living descendant to remember you. You just need the word of mouth of your memories, essentially. Your stories have to be told still. That's what keeps you alive.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, sorry, I'm in deep thought. In that case, first off, how's everyone's notes looking?
Bear.
Bare bones.
You
What?
got it.
Oh, nice. All right. By your best guesstimate, how many you got left?
2 or 3.
2 or 3, Crimson.
Uh, Probably around that range.
All right, we'll do potentially 3 more each, but we'll definitely start with 2, and Spriggs will let you hit it off.
Okay. Ernesto coming back to the stage after like showing that like he attempted murder on Miguel and how he's actually in bad light and everything reminded me very much of Chick Hits in Cars winning the race. Like
Oh
coming out to
yeah,
get his piston
in
cup
car.
and no one liked him and they're like booing at him. It
Yeah,
felt similar to that.
yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely gives this same vibe. Cause
Kitchiga, Kitchiga.
Yeah.
channel. uh, I quite like uh, the family kind of all working together to beat Cruz. Like it's lucky that there's a camera just on this random platform for them to suddenly take control over to use. But I do like that the family works together to defeat him.
Oh, it's convenient, but to me it's fully believable of the camera placement.
Yes. Why would there be a camera
How
out there?
no, the camera being there behind the stage is fine. I am nitpicky on that the control board is not in a control room and it's just randomly placed.
This is
And
Yeah, it's just
beyond.
no, it's
yeah.
round.
This is
There's
beyond
no
backstage. This is on the cliffside. This is on the end of the building. This is outside.
Isn't it all outside?
Well, behind stage, you would usually have a room for backstage. This is past backstage.
I
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an outside venue.
I think they could. Like I said, I think it could work. Like maybe have a one of the rehearsal during the rehearsal, you could have drop a line. It's like, oh, Cruz really wants to do a more intimate performance with so and so here at the end of the building. So we need an extra camera there. That would be
Yeah,
a
it's like
lot to lay
the
on
end of
thick,
the
but
performance is him jumping off and flying on his spirit
spirit guide,
guide.
if he has one, to be honest.
Don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe not. That was mine, but Springs, you added some stuff to it. So thank you. Crimson.
All right. I got. Let's see. Two quick convenience points, I guess, just to get them quick. So Hector found them quickly, them being Miguel and De La Cruz, because they were just after montaging doing activities everywhere. We have
Yeah.
Frida slash Hector finding them.
Is the implication the party's over? Because they're back in that first room, right, with the guitar pool.
I think everyone out went outside to see the fireworks, and they're still inside.
So it's convenient he finds them. Even more convenient that he found them right before the blessing was given on the pedal. Because if he wasn't there at that moment, they would have found out the pedal didn't work, and then the nothing would have happened. Because you need blessing from a family member. So they kind of cut off that reveal by this convenient reveal.
Radio,
Okay.
you have a second one.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was any comments on that.
I see what you're saying. I don't think it was undermined as a reveal.
And then the other one is it's just convenient that the scene talking about the poison is happening right when they're discussing it.
Yeah, that would be convenient. Unless the movies are like going on a loop, even still, it's convenient.
I think they are, but it is
Just that
convenient
one
that that
scene.
scene popped up when they needed it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Springs potentially last point.
Oh, potentially. I brought it up a long time ago, and Ryder, you touched on it, and Crimson, you think you knew what I was hinting at, so this is a great point for all of it. Why did Miguel's dad stop Abuelita from interfering when Miguel was singing to Coco?
That is exactly the point I was thinking. But Ryder was passionate about the father figure, so maybe you should ask first.
Sure, throw me under the bus. um, hmm. Maybe he just. I think for me, it might be is like he because from the family perspective, he's been missing the whole night. Um, so his father might just not want to uh interrupt Miguel to chase him away again. I think that's enough reason for me as to why he lets this and why he's willing to push back on Abuela, because he doesn't want her to chase him away again.
Okay.
If I had to read it like that, I could see it, but I don't see it like that. Yeah, I do see it more of a left field, not necessarily switch, because we do see them looking for him, and his parents did have a reaction to the guitar getting smashed, so that there is um, more empathy towards him, but that's him going directly against the grandma, which no one has been able to do up to this point. Even in the afterlife, the dead family is afraid of the other grandma, Imelda.
Esmeralda.
Um, so no one's able to go against the matriarch, and this is the time. And I don't know if we have enough push visually for the father to do that.
I'm
I'm assuming
I'm
you're on a similar boat, Springs.
closer to Crimson's. I wish there was the whole perspective of the movie is always on Miguel. I wish we saw something or knew something of the aftermath of Miguel running away from his family, of Miguel's dad talking to his mom, of abuelita,
Yeah.
of saying you went too far. If we're gonna reprimand my kid, and it's like, well, my grandson, my child, like he is family, and we're all family, but you know, don't
Yeah.
parent the
It would
parent
be.
kind of thing. I think
I would
that would
love to
have
see them
really
have that.
helped me with this
Yeah.
last scene.
I would either want to see something like that or a scene of his dad like
Looking
running
for
through
him.
town trying to find him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think either would work for me because it would end in the same result with him needing to stand it to Abuela for this moment to happen.
Yeah, I just need one more thing of the dad's importance that stands out above any other family member.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, clearly, the father, as a child, was a huge music fan. It's in the family. Not just a music fan, a Dela Cruz fan. So he saw that he had Dela Cruz's guitar and really didn't want the grandma smashing the authentic original.
No. Anyhow,
No,
Did you appreciate the story you were writing there, Crimson?
it's theoretically possible.
sure. It is, but
I don't
Doesn't
have any
count
evidence, so
contradict
shrug.
anything.
All right. Um. Oh, that threw me off. All right, Crimson, you're going with your next point.
All
Potentially
right.
last.
So Dela Cruz, it's kind of funny to me just thinking he's forever trapped under that bell. No one ever bothers to take him out. He's just
oh,
stuck
eternal
in the
prison.
bell.
That's funny. That's funny to think about.
Because he didn't die from it. We don't see the skeletons die from harm.
No.
It's just from being forgotten. So him just being trapped up on the bell tower forever is
He got
kind of
Iron Maiden.
interesting. Iron Maiden. Yeah.
That's funny. I understood that reference. There's like three different references you
So.
made with that, but I understood the one you were going
Yeah,
for.
they didn't put him in a bell and dump him in the ocean.
And they didn't use the bell to take his eighth life.
I think. Well, I'll jump to potentially my last point before I ask the question again. This is a subjective one. I have been with a World War II veteran who's not wasn't all there in the head. Like they're fading because it's one of the tragedies of life. It's or just the necessity that when people get older they tend to fade a little bit. So, but I remember this elderly person like really coming back to life when he heard me and his son talk about uh, some of the battles in World War II, and I've never heard him more talkative. So the ending scene here is, I guess, something I had personal experience with, in a variation of personal experience with, um, which is obviously the grandmother remembering because of the music that helps her remember, and that's part of obviously what turns abuelita, uh, abuela around, because she's hasn't seen her grandmother that cognizant in a long time.
And that's very
Good stuff.
touching too. From earlier on when
Yes.
she's talking to her and she goes, "Who are you?" And just being like comforting and fine. No, don't know her, but this song, she knows the name.
Yeah. And then she comes back and looks at her daughter. It's like, "Oh, Mojita, what's wrong? Mija, what's wrong?" Like, so
Yeah,
she recognizes Abuela, which is just another thing that really adds on to, I think, the a very well done emotional scene. Uh, Despite our conversations leading up to it.
Yeah, very powerful scene. Um, both times I've seen this, I teared up on, on that scene. I'm sure a lot of people did, but it got me.
it's interesting. I guess a question to pitch. And Crimson, you just went first on being this watch. Did you cry? And where? But
So yeah, I wouldn't say I cried, but I did tear up.
okay, and you teared
This
up.
watch,
You teared up when Coco recognized her
The
granddaughter.
Coco song.
Oh, during
Yeah,
Remember Me.
yeah.
Okay.
this watch through, I did not cry, no, but I have cried in the past.
Okay.
That leaves you, Springs.
My first viewing, I cried during the Remember Me. This rewatch, I teared up when Hector could walk across the bridge.
Happy tears.
It's a good scene. I approve. uh, so, does everyone have one last note to give, or
I have one last note I can give.
Yeah,
uh,
I I have yeah.
okay?
I have
All
three,
right,
but we can do two.
you have three. So you lied to me earlier when you said, "Yeah, I got two or three left."
Crimson
I
does
said
it
an
all
estimate.
the time.
Yeah.
He
But
goes,
we
All
did
"Oh, I
right.
lied.
popcorn,
Oh,
and I
I
assumed
fibbed.
we
Oh, I
covered more
forgot."
at the end.
Yeah, Crimson, rapid fire a few out, sir.
Okay, so Coco having the corner piece of the photo, it's a little far fetching to me because presumably it was Imelda that ripped the photo, so I don't know why she would have given it to Coco or put it in a place for Coco to have taken it. So I
Well,
find that
assuming she just threw it
convenient.
into the trash, Coco could have gone and grabbed it.
Maybe. And then all this time, no one stumbling across that book in the drawer or seeing her open that and that
She,
falling out.
I
There's
mean, she probably tucked it away, considering how hard her mother came down
I
on it.
think she tucked it away, and over time, she forgot about it. So
possible.
she's not looking over it a lot.
So it's just mildly convenient to me. Not enough to where I would nick it, but I do see some semblance of it there.
All right.
Uh, the other one is why didn't they use the giant eagles to fly to wherever?
You're
Uh,
you're almost there. Come on.
yeah, whatever. It's in this with the giant cat. Why
Pepita?
can't people? Hmm?
Pepita. That's the name of the spirit animal.
Yeah, Pepita. Uh, or just anyone in general, really. If you can just fly anywhere, like they get into Dela Cruz's property by getting to that hole to save them. So I'm like, well, now you've just opened up that people can just fly anywhere and do whatever they want.
If they have a spirit
Need
animal to
more.
do so.
Yeah,
Because
need more
Freda's is
rules with
just
the
like a
spirit animals.
fire-breathing monkey.
Well, I would. That's something I wish they dove more into. Is innately, I would imagine each person has a spirit guide to guide you through the spirit realm. It makes sense to me. That's not something they really establish as any sort of rule.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know, they're just
Another
there.
one to throw out Crimson.
Yeah, last one, short one. When Miguel wakes up at the end, the guitar is on the floor again, and I was just thinking, so no one else checked on it again to honor Dela Cruz.
I guess not. Miguel took it off the wall. Security guard came in, put it back up on the wall. Miguel got the blessing to go back, cheated the blessing, got sent back, and by doing so, it just fell on the ground again. And it was there the entirety.
Yeah, and that I find a bit far fetched, especially with how quick security reacted on the first one.
Yeah, I'd say that's a bit of a problem.
I think it's okay because time has passed and people honoring the De los Muertos have probably gone to bed at that point, so it's in the middle of the night. Because earlier it was like a lot of people recognizing through the window, it's like, oh, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone, to get security inside. And if it's just groundskeeping security, I guess to keep people out, I feel like a lot less like no eyes are going to be on that tomb then.
I mean, I feel like it only takes one person though.
And I feel like that one person would be a groundskeeper.
Wouldn't that be enough though?
It would if they're patrolling the cemetery all night long.
I don't see why they wouldn't on such an important night. I don't know, it's not a big deal. It's just something I think is a thing.
I've got a. I guess my last point is the all the notes from all
Hector.
the notes from Hector, the letters from Hector that were kept containing all the lyrics of the songs. I am going to be honest, I don't necessarily think that's enough to change the perception of the world. It might have changed the perception of the town, which I think is enough to get what we have, but it's kind
I
of
can agree.
implied that everyone knows now that he's discredited.
What?
Within a year, probably not enough time.
Okay,
So I can buy
to
the
me the year
town.
helps.
Yeah,
I mean, that's any celebrity scandal though. I mean, like
yeah,
Michael Jackson, you got people like, oh, kid thing, but not everyone believes it, and if they do, it doesn't damage the image entirely. Or
yeah,
what other celebrities have something
yeah.
obvious?
So I think it's enough for me to believe just within the town.
I think what would have helped if there's dates on the letters that it shows or explained,
Potentially,
showing that these are
the lady
prior
could
to the events.
yeah the lady could say these, as you could see the dates on these letters, and that could be part of her spiel
Yeah,
explaining what was going on.
to me that would
Yeah,
help
I'm
a lot
glad
more.
they explained with the journal because before that we see the statue of the don't remember or something along the lines
Yeah,
of Dela Cruz.
that's not gonna do anything. That's gonna fuel into it. People are still gonna remember not to remember this guy.
Yeah, and I was in the middle of writing down how did Miguel convince everyone this guy's a murderer, and then they did the journal thing, and I had to erase my notes. But I was like, okay, I'm glad they at least covered some sort of base.
Mm-hmm. And I think I already covered like the other tiny future bits outside of Miguel's performance, which I really like at the end. Kind of with the family all together. Enjoyed the scene. Nice way to wrap up the movie. But that is it from my points. Sprinks.
Yeah, my last one because I knew I wrote it down because I figured Crimson could sideline me with this question, being how silly it is. The N sign on the decoration does not exist in World.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I would agree with that. Do you think the opening ones do?
No. I don't think the one that has
Slightly.
Coco on it. I don't think the ones telling the whole backstory are. I think that's just for the audience perspective to view
Yeah,
for
it's
a
definitely a
visual
Doesn't
aid.
sound like a
stylistic way to do it.
monster.
Yeah. It's like when we covered Kung Fu Panda 2 and went over the whole opening to Shin's backstory, if that was an actual like theater performance in world.
I don't remember what we landed on that one.
I remember saying no. I think Ryder said yes. I can't fully recall though.
Yeah, neither can I. But that is a good example. Definitely a bookend. We get to end with the crocheted flags, I
Banner
guess.
flag thing.
Yeah. Or ending with the another Deus Lart. Why is it so hard for me to say this? Dia de
Dia de
los
los Muertos.
Muertos.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's alright.
Day of the Dead.
I'm
if
more of
it's
a
easier
It's
Cinco
for
de
you.
it,
Mayo guy.
it's a different language. It's
Yeah.
hard thing to pronounce.
Oh yeah, me pronouncing other languages. That's a big thing on the pod.
Well, your big one was the speech. I still think from
There's everything everywhere all at
Everywhere All
once,
at
and
Once.
then Train to Busan.
Train to Busan went smoother.
Yeah. All right, Crimson. Last point.
Oh.
Make it a good one.
Uh-oh.
Unless you're out.
Yeah. The guitar one was my last one.
Oh, well then I guess we're done for the night. All right.
Haha.
For the day.
Ryder
Yeah.
embarrassed you. Haha.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Well, everyone, that was Coco, which means we're now going to move to summary and ratings. Ooh. And I think I made myself go first last time that I was hosting, so I'm going last this time. Crimson, you're up.
Darn it. All right. So I'm going to echo something Sprinks said in the beginning for himself, and that's the letterbox doesn't match today.
To mirror myself, what's LetterBoxd?
Hard car. It's a movie editing app. Movie review.
It's not editing.
Review,
What?
whatever.
That's
Rating.
the first time here.
Rating. So I had it at 4 out of 10 on my letterbox, and I prefaced in the Pixar video that we did, the tier list, that it wasn't a completely fair rating because, as I mentioned, I never got the full experience of the movie. This time I did get the full experience. No screaming kid, no kid beating on their sibling or whining about Cheerios. Uh, full experience. I got emotion out of this. Like I said, I also got emotion the first time with the ending. But I've got the full package, the full realization of what it amounted to. And usually, when a movie gets me feeling, usually towards tears. It's usually every movie makes you feel something, but usually towards tears adds a lot of weight to how I feel about the film.
Okay, it's above a 5.
The characters, yes, it is above a 5. I don't find the characters annoying. Miguel, the exception for me being what I referenced earlier of him throwing the photo. I found that a bit too malicious, but everything else is good. Dante, I didn't really care about Dante all that much. But that's usually like animal companions in movies. I tend to not care that much. It's usually like for kid stuff. But
Man,
I'm
I
glad
didn't know you
Dante
hated
wasn't
Aslan
too.
so much.
Huh? Did you say Aslan? What?
Yeah, it's a joke. Sorry. Keep going.
So I'm glad I didn't go overboard with him to where he's a complete joke character, I guess. Um, so very digestible. I have this a 7. I'm willing to see it again. Objectively, I think the animation looks great. I agree with Ryder's lighting complaint and my own, but 2 examples out of this whole thing is not enough to really mean anything. I think the voice acting / singing was all well done. The way they created the characters, as I kind of dove into in the beginning, is solid. The way they built the underworld is good. All, anything regarding the animations pretty top tier. But it's Pixar. It's kind of an expectation that they have to keep up. The weakest is typically in everything for me, which is the writing. It's not bad or anything, but there were some issues that cropped up. So the curse, we talked about each of us having a different issue with it. Mine consisting of it tying it to grave robbing, and I find that is an issue because Miguel is not the first grave robber to have ever existed. So granting him the only living person in the afterworld, as it seems they portray, uh, is not congruent. So I found that as an issue. Uh, the family not hearing Miguel's music is absurd to me because I imagine he's done a lot of it up there. He knows how to play. He had to practice somewhere. So that's not great. Uh, the whole like spirit guide system needs to be more defined in its relation to Dante. Is every animal a spirit guide? Can they be turned into a spirit guide once connected to a person? No clue. I find it an issue having no clue with it. The photo of Hector, I do find it as a big problem because a fix would be to make it a family photo, but what's in here is just a random photo of himself that he had when he died. And that to me is shoehorned with something so important to the plot. So I find that as a big issue. An easily corrected issue, but in isolation, a big issue. Hector's other side of his family not being acknowledged or explained away in one line of saying I'm an orphan or something. Huge oversight. A huge part of the story is him not being remembered, so ignoring half the people that could remember him is a problem to me. Sprink brought up Amalda not bringing up to Miguel that De La Cruz is not a relative. I think that's something to be acknowledged with. And the last thing, which is more of a weak sauce thing, I don't, is the Miguel not counting as remembering for Hector. We talked about how it could work, but they say it doesn't work. And I'm going to go with what they say because it's true. Hector could be misinformed or guessing, but I have no reason to doubt it because there's nothing to counteract it. So I am applying that. So overall, I'm at a 7.5 objective.
All right. Sprinks.
Oh boy. Let me start with objective. I think this movie has great lighting, like really good lighting. Um, all the reflections, the shadows, the fluid movements to connect the two. Looking through windows, the lighting of like when Miguel falls into the water and meets with Hector, and kind of that pit area and the sheen on his face. I think the lighting looks great. There are the two things the two of you brought up, which I agree with, do bring into question some things, but still, I think it looks really darn good. Animation's pretty good, very smooth, very vibrant and colorful. This movie has a lot of color to it. Does it have color theory? Maybe. Didn't even look into it. The voice acting, I think, is pretty well done. I think the camera shots, even though hard to tell for me being animation, were very good, dynamic, and flowing. Um, I think the costume design for the characters was very fitting to the cultural inheritance that they're portraying with ancestry and the celebration of de oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Dia de los Muertos. Um, and I think that's all very cool and very works because that's the whole thing of this movie, its connection. And I think the emotional hit in the writing worked very well. Pixar's very good at doing that. But this movie is a little bit like Swiss cheese, even though it's delicious to some people. I guess Laura and me, I don't like Swiss cheese, but delicious to some people. It still has holes, and the what the heck Dante is the I guess magic of the coming back and forth. I don't want to repeat everything Crimson said, and I'm sure a writer wants to touch on it too. So just like all that, like it's got holes in its writing. Um, the dialogue I think is a little clever at times, talking about a character where it's not met with the same character, but then that also makes a hole later when Imelda knows the character that Miguel's talking about and doesn't intervene on that. So um, it has humor that I think just isn't for me, which is fine. But I think its jokes are fairly well written for kind of how serious the tone of the movie is at times. Um, I always forget something, but I have this matched with Crimson at a 7.5. I think it's fairly well made. My subjective back in 2018, having looking at my letterbox score, I had this at a 4 out of 10. I guess I wasn't too keen on the film. Maybe it just wasn't for me. On this rewatch, I think it's far better than a 4, but it's not a movie I think of this Pixar library that I will be going out of my way to like choose amongst the rest of them. I think this is a very good movie to watch during this time of year, especially in honor of Dia de los Muertos. One could argue also Book of Life is another example of that, but I think it's fairly good and well done, and I'm just a little under Crimson. I have it at a 6.5.
All right. I'm gonna start with my objective first because that's the funny one. Um, so I'm in agreement with everything, pretty much everything you guys have said. What I will add on to that is I think I had the pacing issue at the beginning with narration going from exposition to exposition. I think there should be a little bit more space there. Um, Magic system you guys already went over. I think I would have been it would have been better to get another thing on the dad. I'm in agreement with that. Though as much as I do like what the film tries to do with what little time it has, I think to round that out to make it better would have been to have just one scene with that either arguing with abuelita or searching for Miguel. Either would I think facilitate the outcome that we get. Um, I think uh, world building and plot are wonderfully detailed. There's still some holes here and there, as have been described. The major plot hole being that I keep saying Esmeralda, but now I'm not sure that's their name because I've heard it pronounced
It's
several different ways.
Imelda.
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 Yeah. Okay. Imelda.
Esmeralda is the gypsy from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I see. I haven't seen the movie in like 20 years. uh, so Merelda has that for me. That's a huge plot hole. The fact that she doesn't mention Cruz. I'm mentioning this to echo everybody else because that's a big problem. Um, I do think the photo that Hector has functions well enough as a MacGuffin, but it doesn't like everything else but the picture itself works around it. And I think that the easiest way to fix this is have it be a family photo, and then you just have to find a way to hide it from Miguel, so Miguel doesn't see it and put the pieces together earlier. Um, but I think every character is well realized, even the family side characters with all their quirks. Mind you, I mean the dead ones, not the living ones. The living ones are they're not characters; they just exist. Uh, which is fine. They're the story isn't focused on them. Um, but yeah, I'm matching everybody. I'm at a 7.5 objectively.
That is funny.
Yeah, that's the funny bit. That's where I've been sitting. I think about the last half hour of the podcast. I was bouncing between an 8 and a 7, and I think 7.5 is just fair to split the difference. And you guys brought up enough, I think, to lower it from an 8. Subjective. As I said, it's beloved in my family. So I've seen this more than the 3 times that I've seen all the way through. But as to what amount, I'm not sure. Um, I think I very much enjoy it. If I hear it going on, I not necessarily won't go into the next room, but I will pause what I'm doing to listen to some of the music when it comes up. Um, so I definitely do enjoy this film quite a bit. I'm probably at a 8 subjectively. It's I will probably go out. I would probably pick this out of the Pixar lineup to watch at some point. It's not my favorite movie, but I have a lot of nostalgia now attached to it, like I do with, funny enough, like I did with Coraline in the Halloween season, because just of how much it's crops up now around my family. And with that, gentlemen, shall I read us out?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, audience, for listening, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, Castbox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, and Samsung. And if it be our visual side of things, be it YouTube or Rumble, thank you for watching our PNG Duper slideshow there. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. And as always, I've been a geeky writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Springs.
And we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.